Universal Disclosure Podcast proudly welcomes once again our friend Toni Ghazi.
I want to see your soul. Let me know who George or John or whatever you are. And like they feel that like from me, and like they see how authentic and real like I am, and they love it. If you choose as an ascended master to live like the idea of like forgetfulness, that you are an ascended master, and to profess like profanity and like to profess like anger and to make fun of me, who am I like to say you cannot do that? Because like to the praying mantis beings, they made it very clear, which I was afraid to share like for a year, because I'm like, oh my god, this is so intense, like people aren't gonna get it. I literally like, disempowered humanity in my own mind, and I didn't share a lot. But they said we're not going to use antiquated tools of understanding your world to try to understand your infiniteness and more. We're going to bring new vibration and frequencies, new tools that will make you feel uncomfortable like initially, because you're not used to using them at first.
Currently, and most specifically in the ufology world, there are many people who are predicting some type of catastrophic event will potentially happen in the year 2026 or 2027. Can you speak about that, please? But in terms of the object known as 3-Eye Atlas, is that object natural or manufactured? For lack of a better term, is there a race of beings who live inside the earth?
A world exists where war exists. Children die, women die, men die, bloodshed everywhere. But both species are fully aware that death doesn't exist. Your DNA structure, humanity, contains many DNA structure of many beings across the cosmos. You did not originate, we will say, on this planet.
The following program is presented for general information, education and entertainment purposes only, and is not intended to be advice of any kind. The content, views, thoughts and opinions expressed in this program are those of the individuals involved. The use of information on this program is at the user's own discretion.
All right, Stuart, what's going on with you today?
Hey, it's another beautiful Sunday in Melbourne, Australia. So when we're recording this, if the audience didn't realise, I'm in Melbourne and you're in LA. So for me, this is a Sunday morning. Now, I guess it's, what is it there, like a Saturday afternoon for you?
Yeah, it's Saturday afternoon. So, we're talking about dedication for both of us. We're taking time on our weekend to do this and to put it out there to the world. But I love it. We're talking with fascinating people from all over the world, intelligent people, wild stories, as it were. But it's awesome. It's great stuff, I think.
Oh, it's an absolute privilege to get to speak to our guest, Mike. And I love hanging out with you discussing these amazing topics.
Yeah, likewise. I look forward to it. I was thinking that today, actually, as I was setting up the studio for today. I was like, you know what? We look forward to the recording part, and everybody else out there is probably looking forward to when we release it, which usually is a couple of weeks after the recording aspect. But it's fun stuff. We're bringing back our friend Toni Ghazi.
Oh, okay, fantastic. I love that last time we spoke to him. Such a beautiful message. Can't wait to hear what he's got to say, Mike.
So this is going to be a brand new conversation. We have new questions. Toni is a channeler who channels the Mantis beings. Now, I do personally believe that Toni is connecting with these beings. You don't have to believe that, but just listen to what he's got to say, as you've said so eloquently before.
Yeah, I reserve my judgment on that, Mike. I just listen to what the message is, and like someone, say I was listening to a song. I wouldn't worry about who it was recorded by, who was performing it. First, I just feel, well, do I like this or not? Am I drawn to this? So it's the same approach I'm taking with this.
That's a great analogy and parallel. Perfect for our channel as a couple of musicians, right? I've actually got some questions that I've been wanting to ask for a while for in a situation like this where someone's channeling let's call it a higher intelligence of whatever that intelligence might be. And potentially, if I may say so, I think that some of my questions are not being asked by anyone in the entire world and should be. So I can't wait to ask some of these.
Well, even down under here, we're seeing in our news about, I believe it's a Harvard professor saying that there's some huge craft coming towards us. So I'd like to ask some questions on that too.
Yeah, so Avi Loeb is our Harvard professor, and they I think it's called a three eye atlas. Three is the third. I is interstellar, so it's the third interstellar object that's ever been detected, and then Atlas is just the name of the thing. You know, I respect Avi Loeb, okay? I truly, truly do, but I also believe he should be very cautious on what he's doing right now because he's on a slippery slope. I get where he's going with it. We're going to ask the Mantis, by the way, about that object itself and what it's like, but my sort of caution for Mr. Loeb is he's using this as an opportunity to get news articles, which I get, and you got to take those opportunities when they come, right? But I don't know if it's him per se or the journalist twisting the story, where it's just like it could be an alien craft that's coming to attack us. Okay, well, what do you got to say about that?
It's got to be bad news, doesn't it, Mike? Why couldn't it be, there's some people coming to have a party with us or something beautiful happening? Why does it have to be negative?
Right. Well, I mean, with all due respect, it's because Dr. Stephen Greer is not the one presenting that story.
I see where you went there.
Because if he were, it would be all peace and love, right? Peace and love, peace and love. But respect to all of these people. We're just having fun. But yeah, I mean, as a humanity, I think we're fear-based, as Jeff Selver said in our last conversation. So perfectly head on, like we go to that fear. Anyway, my whole take is like Mr. Loeb is using this as an opportunity because it should unite us. The conversation should unite us. And he's saying it could be, he's not saying it is, but I think he's saying it could be because of the fact that it opens up the conversation to talk about and be united as a humanity, as Ronald Reagan said to the United Nations a long time ago.
I remember that. Is this thing on pretty much a direct trajectory to us? Is it that obvious?
Well, yes and no. It's going to be... it's not going to get any closer than Mars. I think it's going to be a fair distance away from Mars as well. So there's no threat to the planet Earth, as long as the trajectory doesn't change, which I don't think it's going to, because I'm totally qualified to say that, right? But I don't.
Okay, why isn't he saying, "Listen, this craft's going to stop by Mars"? No cause for concern. Why is he saying it's coming here?
Well, that's a good point too. Well, going back to the weird tangent that we just got on, but I think it's really more of an opportunity to just get people talking. I don't believe that Mr. Loeb is of the mind that it actually is an alien craft or that it will attack us. Now, there's a possibility that it could be not natural. So we're going to ask the Mantis and see what the Mantis has to say about all that.
Okay, now I wonder if the people on Mars, if there are any, are talking about this craft approaching.
I don't know if there are people on Mars, which I don't think that there are, but maybe. What do we know? That's another one of my questions. Is about like the financial system and the government system of other physical beings. Like, how is it? Do they have one, and how is it different from ours? So that's just a little precursor of what we're going to be asking and talking about, among other things.
All right, sounds good, Mike.
So welcome one and all, wherever and whenever you may be. This is Universal Disclosure, meeting the moment. My name is Mike, an active UFO/UAP field investigator in Southern California, with my friend and co-host,
Reverend Stu in Melbourne, Australia.
And yes, for those who tune out on a regular basis, sometimes I'm a UFO investigator, sometimes I'm a UAP investigator, and sometimes I'm both. It depends on the mood, really, as to how I say that. But our friend Toni Ghazi, we're excited to bring him back. We've talked to him before. We'll link that conversation below in the description as well. And it's going to be completely different. So anything that we've talked about before, we're not going to talk about now. And what we're talking about now, we didn't talk about before.
Oh, very good. Okay, I like that. Some fresh content here. Can't wait to hear what he's got to say. And, I'm going to ask him, like, do the Mantis have some new information to tell us? Is there anything specific they want to talk to us about?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And you know what? I do want to sneak in the opportunity to be a little selfish and ask them, the Mantis, about us personally, too, if there's any messages that we personally need to know. Because when are we going to get this opportunity? We could potentially, talk to Toni in the future again, and we probably will. But anyway, so for those of you who don't know, Toni Ghazi is a channel, a cosmic communicator, a spiritual guide, executive coach, and inspirational speaker dedicated to helping humanity awaken to higher consciousness. As a channel for the praying mantis beings from the Antares Stargate, Toni serves as a bridge between dimensions, sharing wisdom, guidance, and healing energies from these advanced, benevolent, extraterrestrial, and extra-dimensional beings. Known for their profound understanding of unity, unconditional love, creativity, and spiritual evolution, the Arterian praying mantis beings deliver transformative messages through Toni, empowering individuals to step into their highest potential.
Wow, that's amazing. I like the fact that that word benevolent was in there, Mike. I'm feeling a bit more comfortable.
Yeah, I do too, especially for those who are checking out the sci-fi channel series Resident Alien, who they just had their series finale. They did show in the last season the mantis was very prominent, and they showed the mantis as biting the heads off of the humans and the evil race or whatever it was. I also thought it was pretty wild. I'm not going to read into this too much, but the Galactic Housing Council was featured at the end too as the the overseeing courts, as it were, for what was all going on. And I don't know, I'll just leave it at that.
Well, that sounds pretty crazy. I haven't been watching that show. Is it worth watching at all?
Oh yeah, it absolutely is. It's funny. It's very rare that any type of show is going to get me to laugh, especially out loud. That one did quite frequently. It's a dramedy. It's funny stuff. It really is.
All right, I'll get onto that.
But anyways, so let's get to it, and we'll call this meeting to order, shall we? Universal Disclosure Podcast proudly welcomes once again our friend Toni Ghazi. So Toni, welcome back. It's great to see you here.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Stuart. It's always a pleasure and an honor and fun, because life should be fun, to be here with your frequency and vibration.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful to see you.
Thank you, Stuart. Thank you.
So to get started out, and we've talked already in the past. We're going to put a link to that conversation below as well, so people can check that out if they haven't already. And we're going to just have a whole new conversation with different questions and such. And I was kind of missing you a little bit, because when I went out to Contact in the Desert a couple months ago, I was looking forward to seeing you and hanging out and everything, and you weren't there. And then I emailed you to see if we could have another conversation, and I got an autoresponder that said you were gone for like a month on some spiritual journey or quest. Are you open to talking about like what happened there? How was that? Where'd you go? What happened?
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, I've been traveling for the past year and a half, literally every single month, and I'm not kidding. To all these events, but that specific trip that's in May, which I was gonna come to the Contact in the desert, but I was in Bali, Indonesia. I was filming a movie there and a documentary, and then we went to Japan. We're actually channeled for the Japanese public with Ruben Langdon. So I'm going to be in like 2026, the end of 2026, on Amazon. This like beautiful documentary about like 5 executive coaches. And I'm like the 5th one, and I'm more the woo-woo guy who's kind of about aliens and stuff. The other executive coaches are amazing people, like from their facets, but they're not into aliens and like, it's like the typical like executive coaching, and they're super established in their business for years and years and years. And here comes Toni Ghazi, who doesn't look like your average human. I mean, this is average human now, but I had a dress and I had stuff on me and I had heels on purpose to break the paradigm. And I talked about executive coaching from a spiritual lens. So yeah, we were there filming for a week and a half, and then I was, in Japan for another week and a few days. And then I went to New York after that for a retreat. So it was a lot. And going to Sedona next week. Just came back from Mount Shasta, 2 days ago, California. Nice. So each month I have an event at least. I had 1 month where I had 3 events, like back to back to back. It was like, oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. While selling real estate at home. So that business doesn't end. So it's like 2 businesses at once, real estate and spirituality.
How did you get on the corporate radar? How did those people even find out about you?
Listen, my world has been crazy magical. And it's because I have embraced this new version of me without caring what the world says. I mean, listen, to walk around Washington, D.C. or any other city and say, I talk to insectoid beings. It's like one thing to say I talk to angels or the stars. We all understand angels through religion. But an insectoid being, that's like, it's like either shooting yourself in the foot or you're absolutely insane or like whatever. So, but like, because I really embrace that aspect of me, I feel that my vibration of like frequency of just knowing this is an aspect of me opens up these amazing doors. So I had a publicist like that I hired for about 8 months who helped me with like all these podcasts and things. I don't know if you know like Debbie Dashinger.
Yeah. She actually reached out at one point, and I told her, I was like, well, I already know Toni, and I've already wanted Tip to be on our channel. So no, yes, it was the answer to that one for sure.
Yeah. So she actually got in touch with me, and like we're working together, and like she's trying to get me on all these podcasts, but she, because she has connections, she's in like the radio business. And through that, 2 or 3 months later, like she says, look, I have this producer, like this documentary, like producer, like this guy has made like 4 documentaries already. Like they were quite successful. And every year he like reaches out to me and a few other friends in like the industry. And he asks her if like she knows of any interesting like people. And then she says, look, I've sent him like people over the past 20 years and he hasn't selected any of them. So don't get too excited. Literally, that was like the conversation with her. And I pick up the phone with Patrick. It took 3 minutes. I'm not kidding. He barely knows anything what I do. And then he tells me, well, like because he lives in Belgium. And he says, my son, every morning, he finds a praying mantis insect in the pool.
Wow.
This absolute stranger he has no idea what I do. And then I get connected with him, like talking about praying mantis channel. And then he says that his son finds praying mantises every single morning at the pool, and he sends me photos of them. It was just like if he needed confirmation, like here it is, and if I needed confirmation, like here it is. And then like the rest is history. And he said, yes, I would love to have you in like the documentary. And then we began the dialogue, and we just filmed it in this past May, in Bali, Indonesia.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. So these are the magical things that begin to happen like in our life when we stand into our truth, right? Beyond what society said your truth is, beyond the identity that we place upon ourselves, either through marketing, through families, through traumas, through society, through religion, through your own stories of fear. When you step out of it, the universe responds with that frequency and vibration of it's not even knowingness, of just making it happen because you are that. And it just brings all of the bridges, all those connections. It's just amazing. It's just incredible. The universe keeps proving to me over and over again that regardless of where I am and where my mind thinks I'm heading, my frequency and like vibration, like where I am with my state of being, of who I am, is the path, is the guide, without a thought, like without a micro inch, if that's even a word, of a thought. Because the universe speaks beyond words. It speaks through like the vibration like that we're emanating. So if I'm like emanating vibration of fear or lack or this and that, it responds to that. It creates that. Yeah.
Wow, Toni, you're amazing. I mean, that was so gorgeous. That was beautiful. It's the path of authenticity, isn't it? Finding our true selves and just embracing it.
Yes. And I just spoke on stage in Mount Shasta, and I was called about a month ago because I've been buying specific clothing to match the theme that I'm going to speak about, because I like to shock people. I like to like jolt your paradigm. I like you to feel like comfortable in the uncomfortable, because we find comfort in the comfortable and we don't grow. Or we grow at a slower pace. So I was called to buy a like black and white dress. So half is white, half is black. And then I had a custom made like mask that was half white, half black. I had like 2 little armbands, half white and half black. And I had a belt. And like shoes, I bought 2 pairs of shoes, like one black, one white, but I wore the black in the left foot and the white and like the white foot. And like you'll see it on social media. And like the whole idea was that we wake up every morning and we put on a mask, and we put on a costume, afraid to be ourselves for whatever reason. Every single day, each and every one of us does that because we're afraid to be fully authentic wherever we are. And I performed on, and I say the word performed, it wasn't like a performance in terms of acting. It was truly being authentic with that version. I was very vulnerable, like with the, with the participants, and I explained to them a most like recent, experience I had, like with working with my shadows. I've heard like shadow work for the past 3 years in like the spiritual community. A lot of people like do shadow work, and it's understood from like different facets in like different ways. I really like didn't know exactly what it was, and I wasn't resonating like yet to work with my shadows. But I have this amazing teacher that also showed up synchronistically, and like we began working with my shadows, like meaning like the parts of me that are living in the shadow, in the dark, that I am afraid to see, I'm afraid to acknowledge, I have buried unconsciously or consciously, like all the traumas I've had. And I've only been like doing that work for a week and a half, like before last week, and my world changed just in that week and a half, because I realized, although I'm loving, although a lot of people say, oh my God, you love so much, I love to hug people, like my vibration is of love, I realized within my own self, I have suppressed my feelings, and I turned off my feelings for 45 years.
Wow.
So the aspect of love that I was feeling wasn't even the aspect of love that lives inside of me, right? Although like to the audience and like to people, it's amazing and it's great, but to myself, it's not my full totality. And like the reason for that is like, I grew up in the Lebanese Civil War, and like there was bombs, and like there were shootings, and like there were screams. The whole state of being of the country, of like the people, was a fear, like a like real war. I was also abused, and I'm like being dramatic in like the word, like although my father is an amazing dad and he shows unconditional love, like he shows the one aspect like of love on the other side, at home, and he's done a lot better and he's completely changed like since then. But when I grew up, he wouldn't treat my mom right. He would abuse her like a little bit physically. A lot of it was a lot of verbal. He would flip like the dining room table, like when we're eating, food is all over the floor, like my mom is like cleaning the floor, in complete fear, like lived on pins and needles. And the whole house, like where we lived, was just like, when my dad is angry, it's like a dark cloud of evilness, the best way like that I can describe it. So, and like I was molested sexually like when I was a child, and I stuttered when I was a child, and I still kind of do and here it comes in. This is why I use the word, you're going to hear the word and you're going to hear the word like a lot, because it helps me transition. And if I don't, I go and it could be because of the war, it could be because of all the traumas like that I experienced. Also at school, like we went to an amazing private school like back home, but still like the teachers like were allowed to abuse you, like so they would pull my hair. Whoa. As like a form of punishment. Like they would hit you with rulers. My grandmother and my grandfather like would hit us with this tree, like that had like flexible like branches. So like there was a lot of trauma like in my childhood, that no wonder I turned my feelings off and I buried them, and I created this persona that understands feelings and love from an intellectual way, and not really feeling like the love. Now, yes, I probably did feel an aspect of love, but I didn't feel the totality of the loving being like that I am. Even to the point when I began working on the shadows, I talked to my husband, and like him and I like don't have the perfect relationship. And to the audience out there, although I can channel and help guide you, I don't get a pass. I still go through exactly what you're going through, because I need to live this three-dimensional reality. I still go through am I allowed to say the word shit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Every shitty experience as a human can have, I'm still going through and I'm figuring it out. So I don't get a pass just because I can channel. They're like somehow I'm on some pedestal. No, that aspect, the one aspect of me is aware of that. The other aspect that's like you goes exactly to the same thing. Insecurities, fear, lack, abundance, blah, 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 all of it. I go through it every day. So you know. But I asked my husband about a week and a half ago, or like 2 weeks ago, after I was doing like the shadow work, and I realized like love, and I asked him, how do you know that you're loving? Because when I realized that I shut off my emotions like for 45 years, I'm like, what have I been doing for 45 years? Like, what is this aspect of love that I think I'm loving? And everybody says, oh my God, Tony, amazing, and you love. And it's like, what is this? Like, it literally broke my world. It's like my whole ego shattered, and I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what idea of love is. And his response was the following. When I write you letters, because like when I travel, like he would like leave me like handwritten letters in a bag, like in secret, so I'll find out as I'm traveling, or like when I get to the hotel. And I said, how do you know that you're loving, or that you are loving? And he said, when I write, I feel. And my world shattered again. My husband like just told me that he feels the love. And I'm like, what have I been doing for 45 years? What kind of feelings were like was I having? So it really broke me, like in a sense. I was very confused about 2 weeks ago what love means, and I'm still like rediscovering it. And it really begins with the self. So like whenever we hear like the idea and like the concept from many teachers, you know, like whether spiritual or like non-spiritual, or like psychologists or other coaches of all like modalities, when you hear like self-love is the most important love, and the relationship with self is the most important. Now I understand why. Because when you do not know yourself fully, meaning when you do not go into the depth of your shadows, the parts of you that you have buried and like decided not to meet for whatever reason, whether it's fear or you don't want to feel, or it's too much of like whatever, then you do not know the totality of who you are. But when you know the totality of who you are, and when you meet those aspects of you that you have shunned away, you literally reconstruct yourself as a whole being. And imagine, like for a moment, from the reconstruction of you as a total being and the unconditional love to you, how then are you able gonna love? How then you will become the loving aspect for others. You'll begin to love others from the frequency and vibration of your own self-love. And you'll be able to witness others like from a view that is non-intellectual, because we intellectualize everything. We understand of the concepts of what love is, and we perform actions like we're on stage and act of love. Now, I'm not saying that we all don't have the intention of loving. I know love to the capacity that I thought I knew love until I figured out I like turned my emotions off, and now I'm rediscovering what love is. So we all have the capacity, and we do love, but we don't fully love with the intensity of unconditional love until we unconditionally love ourselves. So that's my journey right now. Just explain to you, Mike, because you asked that question. And it's just unfolding every day. And every day I learn, the more I go into myself, and I'm obsessed with myself right now. I am obsessed with working with plant medicine, with working with myself, with working with other teachers to discover me, all the aspects of me that I don't even know that are there. Because, you know, until I went to that retreat where I saw like an image of this like safe, like a bank safe. But like that bank safe was as thick as miles and miles in the universe. It was the thickest wall you can ever imagine. And in that like thickness of the wall, in that safe, like my heart resided. Because apparently I had locked it away when I was very young, because I didn't want to feel anymore. The intensity of like the emotions were so a lot that I had to lock it away. So it began to unlock itself like during a plant ceremony that really unfolded me like through this journey. And that plant ceremony happened about 2 months ago, and who knows when I'm going to rediscover again, you know. So self-work is so important. Like shadow work is so key, and no wonder we don't know ourselves. No wonder we don't. It makes psychological sense to me now, because we are pushing away aspects of us that we have judged, we have shunned away, or like society like says you should be like this. So because I'm not like this, I push away an aspect of me that isn't like this. So we keep breaking ourselves like apart, and we begin to operate from, if I'm an operating system, or I'm a like computer, right? I am operating at half of my capacity or even less because I have decided that half of me is not worth it, or like not or like not worthy of seeing because it doesn't look like what society like said. So, and it takes courage. It takes really guts to go in and face yourself. And when you face yourself and begin to reconstruct those identities that we create, you begin to have an identity crisis. Like, who am I? Like, what was I doing for the past 45 years? Like, I literally went into this, I'm going to say the word psychosis because I'm being dramatic right now, into this little psychosis moment. I'm like, who am I? What was I loving? What kind of love is this? Where does it come from? Like, it became so real that it shattered my world. But in the shattering of my identity is where I was able to see myself again. The whole pure divine being, this beautiful like boy that was born of light. And this is each and every one of us. Was that good so far? Sorry, I can go on for a while.
Oh my
It's
God,
so visceral.
that was amazing. You literally read my mind because in all of that, before I at one point I was going to say let's do a sidebar because the being of your authentic self is probably the most difficult that anyone can do, and I wanted to talk about that because I mean you've already done it and you've done it quite perfectly, but you literally read my mind earlier there with that. Awesome.
Well, I'm psychic in case you didn't know that. LOL.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm just being silly. Look, it really takes one example like for yourself to step over that idea of fear, because we are really comfortable with doing what's comfortable, and we also get uncomfortable in like feeling the uncomfortableness. Like just that alone like stops stops us like from doing things. So all it takes is one example like for yourself where you created that idea of like fear that if I do that I'm going to be ridiculed, I'm going to be made for, or whatever story that you created. If you are able to step over that fear, you'll see the support and the celebration and the love of so many people. Because in that moment of authenticity, the universe cannot but show you authenticity back. That you are a worthy being, that you are a valuable being, that you are a lovable being, that you are not alone, that you are not broken, and you never have been broken. The universe cannot but show that to you because you'll be emanating that vibration. Now, the ascended aspect of that is, at the same time, other people have the free will choice to experience you from their lens. And if they haven't had the chance to find themselves or an aspect of themselves, they may read your authenticity as a sign of fear. Because when you step out authentically, like to the world, you'll be received by many people that have found aspect of authenticity like within them and they can identify with it. But the ones that haven't yet, you will trigger them within themselves, and whatever reaction that you're getting like from them in terms of ridicule or like laughter or like mean comments is not directed to you. What's happening in that moment is that you are mirroring to them what they are unable to break away from. All those hateful comments are hateful comments toward themselves because they don't have the courage yet to do precisely like what you did. Because I had a post on social media when I was on stage at the channel panel back in December. It had 300,000 views and a lot of it was beautiful comments, but I got a lot of hateful comments. You're gay, you're a homophobe, you're this, you're a cult leader, you're, I don't know, like all these crazy, insane comments that aren't what the video showed, because I talked about love, but because I was wearing like this dress, this like gold dress. So in the minds of people, this man who has a beard wearing a dress, and I can't remember if I had heels or not that day, broke their paradigm, and it pushed them into this uncomfortable like state. So anything that like they told me, every single one, I said, I honor your view and your words like fully. And I don't expect you to see me from my lens. Like, who am I to tell like another being they have to understand me or they have to get me? Whatever that they're reflecting, I knew that it was them, that I'm their mirror, like reflecting it like back to them. And through many of what started to be like mean dialogues and like very hateful comments, the surprising part was a lot of them were very surprised that I didn't like bash them. That like, although like they sent me hateful comments, I really sent them beautiful comments of honoring like who they are, and like thanking them for speaking like their truth, because they weren't used to it. And I had this one lady that like literally like we went back and forth for like 3 or 4 dialogues where she said, I can't believe this is happening, where I kind of judged you, but you didn't like judge me like for a moment. I'm like, who am I to judge you? But like to her, it opened up this beautiful way that if like I'm like, should I have vibrated back and like responded, in a hateful comment, it would have strengthened her idea of who I am, but truly of who she is. But I don't see her as those hateful comments. I just see those hateful comments as a scream that I would like to be like you, and like not to be in a dress or heels or whatever, but I would like to be authentic like to myself, but I'm afraid to do so, or I don't know how to do it. Right? So does that make sense?
Oh, completely makes sense. Yeah, there's so much to talk about. One thing I would say is David Bowie was doing that for us in the 70s and 80s. A very amazing man, just challenging us. Another thing I wanted to say was that black and white outfit makes complete sense to me. It's the yin and yang, integrating the shadow self. I love this whole shadow work thing. It's I know that from Carl Jung, from Jungian psychology. Absolutely powerful. And the way you've embraced it, it takes courage. And I really honor you for your whole journey, Tony. You're an inspiration.
Thank you. Oops, sorry. Really appreciate, Stuart. Thank you. And like, look, I had a realization, like when I began doing like the shadow work, I was walking, into the park next door, which I've lived in this place for 6 years, and we have a park literally like 20-second walk, like that I've never like gone to because I'm always so busy. And like recently I've been just like taking walks in nature, like near my house. And as I'm walking, because I'm working on my shadows, I identified with the idea of humility from a different frequency. Like, I know that I'm a humble guy, and I know that I'm not, like, I don't have my nose up. And like, this is why like many of my clients love working with me in like the real estate sector, because I don't judge you. I don't give a shit how much money you have. I don't give a shit what your title is. That's not what I see. I want to see your soul. And I deal with the royal family of the UAE, a lot of CEOs, millions of dollars. I never ever look at a human like that. I want to see your soul. Let me know who George or John or whatever you are. And like they feel that like from me, and like they see how authentic and real like I am, and they love it. So like within my own self, I thought I knew what humbleness was, but that wasn't even like, it was an idea of humbleness that I was in a sense performing. And of course, like, listen, you don't know what humility is until you are the vibration of humility. It's like the next time you expand, you like realize the idea like before that wasn't the expanded one, right? But in like the moment until you expand to that level, you know what you know. And like to you, like that's what humbleness means. I went up to a different frequency of like humility that just also broke my identity. I'm like, oh my God, what have I been doing for the past 20 years? I thought I was humble, and it was egoic humbleness, really. It was, and like people talk about spiritual ego, and like they talk about spiritual like bypassing. And yes, I probably have been doing it unconsciously because I was living a concept of and not embodying really what humility is. Because at one point I'm like I don't need teachers, I don't need anybody. I'm just like focusing on my channel. I'm God. I'm like yes, like we are, like all that. But in that moment, like there was a part of me that like felt that if I have a teacher, or if I have many teachers, that I don't have all the wisdom like within me. And like that's where the ego came in. So the idea of humility in that moment pushed me in a frequency where I acted out with humility on stage. I brought up my teacher and my friend who's with me at all these events, and I kneeled in front of them, in front of the whole stage. And actually, when I came into the stage, I kneeled in front of everyone, and I said, like with humility, I'm here and I see you all as my mirrors, because without you guys, I wouldn't have the keys that I need to find myself. Each and every one of you is a mirror for me. And this wasn't an act. This was a real like frequency of humility. I wanted to start out like that way and like bring my teacher up to the stage to like to give her like recognition, because I wanted to show the world that it's one thing we live in a concept of, it's another thing when you begin living and embodying and being what humility is. That it's okay like for us to celebrate like each other. It's okay like for the ego like to be afraid that if I bring my teacher up, that like she may get extra sessions or like she may make more money. The mind works in mysterious ways. The mind works in like the lack mentality. So I had to perform or act out like in front of the audience. The old Toni would have done this and thought that, but the new Toni is going to do something new in front of each and every one of you, which is important like for your life when you're living, to begin embodying and acting out what you say, living that truth. That when you say, I am abundance, live and be that state of abundance. When you say, like I honor you, honor that being fully with no fear. Because oftentimes we say, I honor you, but there's an old program like behind it, of fear, of lack, of this, like what if they get more attention than me? All of that I like did on stage as part of what Spirit like guided me like a week and a half ago, when I felt the idea of humility, and I felt it viscerally, where everything was peaceful. In that moment, which lasted probably like 2 or 3 seconds, every fear I had, every insecurity I had, every story that I have created, every idea of lack, every idea of not being one, all of it wasn't there. I was literally creation, knowing myself, having access to anything that I desire. And it hit me in that moment. It was so clear. Bring up the two people like that have changed your life in the past like 6 months, and many other teachers like that have changed my life. And I like wanted to impart that like to the audience, to have them begin to live their lives every single day by honoring each other. Honor your mother, honor your father, honor your boss, honor whoever you feel has like been there for you, that allowed you to have access to yourself through that interaction. So yeah, embodiment of those concepts is very different than performing those concepts.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
And I could, from the last time we talked until now, I can sort of notice a shift or a little bit of difference in you, and it's really cool to see. It's beautiful to see, and I think for everyone out there who's either watching or listening, I sort of discovered a long time ago, like when you graduated from whatever grade you graduated from, you're not done learning. You're your entire life you're learning, or at least you should be, and you should be evolving. And Toni, I love seeing someone who's constantly evolving as well. It's a wonderful thing.
Thank you. And look, when you comprehend like the aspect that we're all one, and like when we talk in like spirituality, like about saying you're me and I'm you, I'm the tree, I'm the leaf, I'm the moon, I'm the sun, I'm the river, I'm the humans, everything. So if like there's an idea of competition or lack or whatever, how is that possible when they are that version of you? And like, wouldn't you want to celebrate that other version of you? And because we're all interconnected, if they're going up, if they're feeling better, if they're feeling love, if they're like resonating on a higher frequency, you're automatically like benefiting like from it, from the tethering, because we're always like interconnected like to each other. There's never a point where we are disconnected like from each other. So when we comprehend those aspects beyond the intellect, into really knowing what we are saying, then all of it makes sense.
Absolutely,
It's simple. It's a simple, beautiful, powerful message. And I can see the shift in you too. This is really amazing. Just incredible. I can see some parallels with the teachings of Jesus here, because he was telling us, don't worry about what you're going to wear. Don't worry about what you're going to eat. And it doesn't mean those things aren't important, but he's saying don't bring a stress, don't bring a lack about those aspects.
Yes, totally. And a lot of Jesus teaching, or like Islam, or like Taoism, or like Buddhism, they're all the same message, just from a different lens. And it's funny that we have all of these religions or all these other spiritual, because they're all lenses to help our collective to understand it, because you may vibrate well with the Christian like teaching, you may, and like you may not vibrate with the Buddhist, or so all these aspects, all of these like different facets allow the humanity, all humans to receive or to begin receiving new codes that kind of resonate like with them, right? But like some other religion, like depending on like where it comes from, if it's based on punishment, that's another vibration of frequency that,
Yeah, I agree.
you know what I mean? There is no
Yeah,
punishment. There's never a
yeah.
punishment. God, consciousness, or like intelligence never punishes you. It's all gifts to allow you to go within, to find out that you are the powerful creator to shift, you know?
Absolutely.
I definitely agree with you on that punishment thing. In the story, the prodigal son that Jesus tells, the son goes back to the father, and there's absolutely no judgment at all, zero judgment.
Yes, yes. God, something else came through about religion. Yeah, it will come back. Oh, and I grew up Greek Orthodox, by the way, like just for your audience. I like grew up Christian until, you know, I awoke about like when I was 40 years old. So I'm 45 now, or like maybe 41. So I, you know, I believed in Mother Mary and Jesus and saints and all of it. And I prayed every day and every night, and I would pray and it's not that that stopped. It's not that I don't believe like in Jesus, but before I saw Jesus in all these aspects of like the divine beings as outside of me, like a higher power that I needed to pray to out there to change my life. Now I recognize it all lives within me. That the Jesus like that I was praying for is an aspect of Jesus within me that I didn't believe was me. That's why it was living exterior of me instead of like within me. Like the same with Mother Mary and all the saints and all the other like divine beings, Krishna, Buddha, you know, you name them. And that's very different, right? Because it takes self-worth. It takes some sort of value to say, yes, I am Jesus. Because I have many people driving. So like the back of my car, I have aliens. It says that I channel. I have Bigfoot. I get many cars sometimes, and like they hold the Bible and they just flash it. It's like, believe in Jesus. I know. And I say, Jesus is here. They're like, no, believe in Jesus. Out. Like they keep wanting me to go out there. I'm like, he's with me. I am Jesus. And they say, no, you're not. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I just honor them because they are like where they are. But even that, like for the majority of like Christians who are very devout, if you tell them, do you believe you are Jesus? They're not going to accept that because they're sinners. The idea of like of sinning, which I lived with like for 40 years. Well, the more that we believe that like we are sinners, the more we create a reality of sinning of some sort. So we have to like discern words, because everything has vibration, you know, and frequency. So,
Very
and
important. Very good points.
yeah. And I want to say just one more thing. The next facet of understanding is like through the praying mantis beings, because they're very expanded. They help me expand my idea of what these things mean. Even the idea of sinning, even the idea of like religion, if you're not expanded enough to understand, you know, like the way that we speak, that in itself is ascension. Because praying mantis beings say, if you're an infinite being and comprehend really beyond the intellect what infinite being means, in order for you to comprehend yourself to your full totality of your infiniteness, you need to live in a sense and experience the infiniteness of all creations, one of which is to be the sinner, or to live a life like believing Christianity with the aspect of like sinning. So when I, like from my lens right now, I honor everyone's journey. Even if you choose to stay like where you are, that journey you're going through, however it looks to you, is ascension, because it's part of the infinite. Infinite isn't only like the light, right? Because in the minds of most humans in spirituality, oh, if I'm living the light, I'm meditating every day, I'm successful, I'm abundant, all these like fluffy, beautiful words. If I'm healed, if I'm this, I'm that, I'm ascending. But if I'm broken, if I'm depressed today, if I'm lost, if I'm angry, if I'm hateful, if I'm this and that, then I'm not ascending. That is ascension. That's where the fallacy lies. That's where the judgment lies. Because infinite isn't only the light aspect of the infinite is the whole gamut, all of it. And each aspect of what we describe, like love and hate and this, even love has an aspect of infiniteness within it. There are infinite shades of love. There are infinite shades of darkness or being unhappy. So when you begin to integrate all and say, like, you know what, if I'm feeling super hateful today and lost, that is okay. And I'm going to love that version of me unconditionally because I recognize it is part of the infinite. Then you begin shifting in that shade of hatefulness or anger or confusion that you experience. You won't experience it again when you embrace it as part of the all and honor it for what it is. You may experience a different shade of it, but not that specific vibration and frequency. Because once you embrace it in, then you put it back into the puzzle of who you are, and it is part of you now. But now you get to experience another shade of it. So there are a lot of elements in like layers that goes into the concept of infiniteness and how we tie it back into this like three-dimensional like reality, which goes back to Mike's thing that he said, we never stop learning. We never stop expanding. Yeah. Because if you comprehend the infinity aspect, is the infiniteness of everything. So we're always restructuring and learning and expanding new shades of things. And that will always continue to happen for the rest of the infiniteness.
I can tell you're living that, Tony, by the way that you graciously responded to those hateful comments. You accepted with love.
Yes. Initially, I got triggered for like a day because I'm like, oh my God, like the world lives like this? Because, you know, a lot of my community is like super loving. I go to all these beautiful events and everybody's on the same vibration. I don't have a lot of friends or like family or like people where they express like hatred that way. And I don't watch the news on purpose because that's another vibration and frequency. Like my husband is glued to the news every day. He might as well be a politician. And I always tell him you should go run for office because you're watching the news every day, you know, everything about everything. That's not my world. But I got shocked initially because I didn't anticipate and I forgot within my own bubble that the rest of the world doesn't live like I do and they're not in my bubble. So it took me like a day or two to kind of like really like go within and find my tender moment with myself to truly live what I preach and be like what I preach and not just like a parrot, like say, oh, I honor like what you're saying. We're all parrots, by the way. And like, that's what I meant earlier when we act out certain things. You know, like, you know, I could have just typed, oh, like, you know, I honor, but as I'm saying it, I'm fully in the vibration and frequency. I'm honoring you. I see you as an ascended master. And I say that to them. I say, I see you as an ascended master and I fully honor you like where you are and the lens in which you see me. Like, thank you for speaking out your truth. And like, thank you for being like courageous enough to be authentic with your feeling, because that is a type of authenticity. As hateful as it seems, that person is feeling that. That's their reality. That's their truth. Who am I to say, like, shift out of it? Who am I, like, to judge them?
I understand, because they facilitate learning for you. By the fact that you were triggered and that you chose love is a beautiful thing.
Yes. But if I say that you are like an ascended master and you are a facet of the infinite, if you choose as an ascended master to live like the idea of like forgetfulness, that you are an ascended master, and to profess like profanity and like to profess like anger and to make fun of me, who am I like to say you cannot do that? When I say I honor you fully, it's okay for you to be like where you are. And it's okay to share with me where you feel. Because truly, again, what they are feeling is what they're feeling within them. I'm literally holding a mirror like back to them. The same way that they are holding a mirror like back to me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just a real quick sidebar, and I do ultimately want to get to the Mantis too, but I could, talk to you all darn day, man.
Me too, Mike.
This is, already, the Mantis isn't even here yet, and this is just freaking amazing. When you were talking about how it doesn't really matter if basically like you're having a good day or you're a bad day, you're still ascending, you reminded me of something actually. I don't know what this was. It was kind of like a dream, but it wasn't yet, because I felt as though I was falling back to Earth. But at the same time that I was falling, I also simultaneously felt like I was raising up. And my brain melted in that moment of whatever dream state that I was in. It was like, how could I be falling and, launching up simultaneously? So when you were talking about that, it just started, that popped into my head. Like, wow, interesting.
Exactly, because we never fall. We're always ascending. If you think of consciousness and like begin to understand what consciousness is, if there's a birth, let's say, there is like a point where I was born, whenever that is, it could be like billions and trillions of years ago, whenever I became conscious of myself as part of the he, the she, right? Like from that moment on, there's just expansion, expansion, expansion. There's never a de-expansion of things, if that's even a word. And I actually make up words, and I love making up words because it breaks the paradigm. There's no de-expansion of things. It doesn't make sense. You're always expanding a different facet of the infinite. But we're not taught to see our life this way. We're taught to see our life, if it doesn't look like this, then you're not doing it right. And we keep judging ourselves. Every time we judge, like I have trained my mind, my brain, I have brainwashed my brain, like to think the moment that I judge myself, I'm defragmenting. I'm like literally like breaking myself into pieces and like letting it flow in the ether. Because in my mind, if aspects of me aren't with me, then I'm not going to know myself. So I'm very mindful when I'm judging others, when I'm judging inexperience, when I'm judging somebody else say something, when I'm judging myself, when I'm judging my stories, and when I'm judging my life. I'm 45 years old. So if you begin to condition yourself that the moment you catch yourself like judging, you are separating yourself more away from yourself, then you would have, you begin to grow this new desire of being excited to judge yourself again. Because the moment you catch yourself like judging, you go with unconditional love and bring that peace back to you. So I can see myself, so you can see yourself as a whole. So like there are tricks you can play with the mind. This is why I'm so excited to go into the depth of my darkness and into all the pieces that I buried that I don't even know are there. Why? Because I can't wait to find out who I am. I can't wait to find out who Toni, the soul that came on this earth. Because what I thought I knew who I was is not who I am. It's an identity that I created, that we all create for all kinds of reasons. Traumas, dramas, stories, whatever. And this doesn't mean that this identity isn't also part of the infinite. It is. But I desire now consciously to go into the aspect of me that isn't this identity, the full energy of who I am as the divine being beyond the words. So when I say I'm an ascended master, what does that mean? Let me go inside of me and understand really what that means. When I say I'm a teacher, or like you're a teacher, or all these big words that seem so woo-woo and all fuzzy feelings with it, what does that mean beyond the words? Let me go in. The answers are always within us. And it makes sense. Because if we're the generators, if we're the projectors of our own reality, if I am the projector that's projecting my reality, if I'm projecting my reality from a brokenness like state of being, no wonder my world's going to be broken. But right. What if I'm able to go within and reconstruct myself and meet every aspect of myself and to see myself as the full total projector, the divine? How is my world going to change? That's what I'm excited to do. To really, the idea of like manifestation comes from a broken state of being. Because if you know you are God and you are divine, there's no need to manifest. You are it already. But we talk about the idea of like manifestation, of creation, of this, because we have forgotten that we are the full totality of who we are. Because we feel broken, because we have defined ourselves as broken. So that's why I'm very excited to go within myself. And I encourage everyone, if you have teachers in your community, work on your shadows. The most amazing work. And I never understood what that meant. For like 5 years, I heard shadow work, and you have to be ready for it. I didn't understand what it means. I'm like, what the hell is shadows? But it finally fell into my lap, and literally it took one example. I'll never go back.
Dang.
I feel the silence, like within the silence is all.
Well, no, I mean, I was just like, that's a lot to digest and whatnot, but it's just so, it resonates with me for sure. It's just so profound. It's so true.
Yeah.
And
it's powerful stuff. Like you said one moment there that if we're already the all or God or whatever you want to give it, then we don't have any lack. So it's just this lens we're viewing it through, this fractured lens.
Yes.
So much truth. It's like a tidal wave of truth here, Tony. And you know what I'm thinking? When you were speaking at this corporate event, I would have felt blown away if I was attending a corporate event and you came and spoke. So I imagine it was well received.
Yes, I mean, listen, I have people like coming up to me crying, saying, "Oh my God, like what you just did blew our minds away." And I knew that it would if you're ready to receive, because that was the whole point, is to begin, because like to the praying mantis beings, they made it very clear, which I was afraid to share like for a year, because I'm like, oh my God, this is so intense. Like people aren't gonna get it. I literally like, disempowered humanity in my own mind, and I didn't share a lot. But they said we're not going to use antiquated tools of understanding your world to try to understand your infiniteness and more. We're going to
Yeah.
bring new vibration and frequencies, new tools that will make you feel uncomfortable, like initially, because you're not used to using them at first, to begin to understand yourself as like the whole being. And I'm so called to do a lot of the corporate events in the businesses. I'm super called, and I'm beginning to work on these things, like to work with corporations and work with leaders, with CEOs, with like managers, to help them begin seeing their corporation as an entity, a living entity, to begin see themselves as generator of like, you know, of realities, and their staff with a beautiful way of like celebrating everyone. Like I have so many like directions like that I'm going to go in. But I wanted to say one thing. Oh God, that escaped my mind. It will come back. It was very juicy. It felt juicy. It will come. So we'll let the juice.
Well, maybe this will trigger. I don't know. I think it's just awesome that the corporate world is embracing you and your message, and the mantis as well. Because I mean, to me, that's a signal of a big shift that clearly has been going on, and what we're all about here as well. And on a side note, I kind of want to toss this out there too, for all y'alls out there who are waiting for the government to tell you about disclosure. This is disclosure right here. What you just, what we're talking about, what you just heard, and that, in my opinion, is why the governments are so reluctant to talk about it. It's not really their place, but also when you start really getting into this, the government kind of becomes irrelevant.
Yes. And I want to talk about two things, because you just like prompted one thing. So I did remember like what I was going to say. The idea of power, right? Like when we talk about I'm God, I'm like the infinite. It's not coming from a place where I'm God, I'm more powerful than you. That's the ego. The ego wants to feel like I'm God, I'm powerful than you. And, I got to make muscle. I had a friend that got triggered, and like the person mentioned to me that, I don't see you sovereign. I see that you've given away like your sovereignty. Literally, that person like said that to me. And in that moment, I said, when you become power and not an idea of this, where when you resonate on the frequency of like power and of sovereignty, the idea of sovereignty falls away. There is no sense of needing power. When you are power, you are it already, and in it there is no more that ego. It's so like the idea that I see sovereignty now is very different than what it was before. It's not to me that I can, I can change my life, and I can do this, and I can help you heal, and I can da da da. None of that. Like really, like to me, like sovereignty mean is knowing myself fully. That's it. And I get to know myself through working with others, through honoring each and every one of you, through fully knowing beyond the intellect that you are my mirror, that every time I interact with a human, every time I interact like with the animal, with the cloud, with like ancient races, with all consciousnesses, every time I have an interaction with all of these consciousnesses, I am learning more about myself. That's what sovereignty means to me, fully knowing myself, and that's it. Because when you're all, you're all. Speaking of contact and like disclosure, there's all this idea, and I like fell into that, and I was like into that like for the longest time. Like when I began awakening and understanding, like channeling all these things, I wanted to know, where is, I'm a starseed. Where did I come from? Like where, the where. Am I Andromedan? Am I Pleiadian? Am I Mantis? Am I this? Am I a new species that like humanity like doesn't know about? Blah, 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 blah. Yes, that is again aspect of the infinite. That is a lens that I can live my life through. But even though I say that I'm a praying mantis like channel, the more I'm into that state, the more I realize that's just a small focus of my infiniteness, fully knowing within my own knowingness that that may change. And I tell people on stage every single time, you may see me today as like the praying mantis, as the praying like mantis channel, but in a few months that may like fizzle away, and I may have a new frequency that like comes in where I will shift my role and like my focus. But there is an escapism that I realize within myself that I've been doing. It's easy like for us to go out into the stars and to say, I want to connect with this, I want to connect with that being, astrology and this and that, and out, all these concepts of out. And it's a little more challenging to decide to go within yourself. Because the outside, the idea of outside, the idea there are planets. Like the Mantis beings have said through many channelings, the reason that humanity experiences planetary bodies, the moon, the sun, all the other planets like Pluto and every other thing outside, and it seems like a big like globe out there, is because we're living in the idea of separation. So we see that globe as separate because we are swimming in separation. It goes back to the idea of you're the projector of like your own reality. When you begin awakening that you are the generator of everything that's happening, you are the projector, then when you know thyself fully, you know that from within you are able to have access to any being that you desire. And when people say, oh, like when are your UFOs going to land? When is contact going to happen? Disclosure, like 20 ships are going to come to Earth and like appear. That idea is in a sense backwards until humanity is able to go within the self and unconditionally love you. Because when you unconditionally love yourself, you are vibrating on the unconditional love for all. And that frequency of unconditionality, of loving you first and everything else out there, is the signal, is the flag that tells the rest of the species that vibrate on the unconditional love of all that you are ready to meet them. That's where contact lies, within yourself. When I had that like revelation, there was another ego like shattered into like so many pieces, where I looked back in the past like 4 years, and I've been escaping myself out there, and I'm waiting for the mantis to change me, and I'm waiting for the space. And yes, I've had all these experiences, but those weren't happening outside in. They were happening within myself, reflecting back to the outside, letting me know that I've been changing vibrationally, but I didn't see it with a clear lens. This is why, again, I go back to shadow. The shadow work really is getting to know yourself like fully, because when you know yourself, you are God, you are divine, you are everything. You have access to any reality you want to create, or be, or choose, in any contact that you want. So that's a message that just came through about a week and a half ago that was like, wow, we've been conditioned to go backwards. It's always exterior. Like the interior literally is the access to everything. And we have said it like before in so many ways. Many teachers, many beautiful religions have said the inside, but it didn't click in my mind until a week and a half ago, when I realized that I've been escaping. I've been putting so much value out there to something out there to change. The same way when I believed Jesus and Mother Mary, and I would pray for them exterior, I was doing the same thing unconsciously about aliens. And it finally hit me. And I've said it a million times, I'm the projector of my own reality, but it didn't click. It was intellectual. Then when I realized, wow, because my world shifted, crazy things happened to me in the week and a half that I'm not ready like yet to share with the world, that I will one day when I decide to be extra vulnerable, that I couldn't imagine happen. Like instant manifestation.
Wow.
Instant. And it has to do with money. I know a lot of people want to... unbelievable what happened. Unbelievable.
Okay.
Insane.
Well, you got me curious, but I'm not going to press. So I'll just be patient for when.
Let me say it this way. Okay, and I honor your mic, and I want to give you like some relief so you can sleep and your audience. Look, we all ask for money, and we all ask for abundance in like one way like or another. I had a visceral experience where I made love to money within my mind. I
Wow.
literally, because in the past, when we would ask like for abundance, we're asking from for abundance from a broken state of being, from a very separate state of being. So we are like parrots. I was like a parrot, like saying, I'm abundance, I'm this, I'm that, I love money, blah, 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 blah. Even the idea of like loving money was hard for me to say because I'm like, if I say I love money, I'm evil, I'm greedy, I'm blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of work there and you deal with that in like the shadows. But I had an experience where I was working with a Mother Earth medicine, I'm gonna say,
Mhm.
where I began literally having sex with money, making love with money, having a romantic relationship with money. That never even crossed my mind to as an idea like to do. And in that moment when I was like with Mother Earth medicine, I was one with money. Like literally, I was making love. And when I say like making love, not from the sex aspect that we have, but making love from an unconditional way where I'm like, wow, it is energy like to begin with. It's not what I think it is. It's not this paper thing. It's not the numbers. It's not the millions. It's not whatever. It was just this falling into the creation energy that I am money to begin with, right? Like if I say I'm the infinite and I'm everything, I'm also aspect of this energy like that we call money. And I began like shifting my mind in that moment. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wake up every morning. I'm gonna feed money. I'm gonna give money like water. I'm gonna talk to it. I'm gonna say, how was your day, honey? Are you doing okay? Like, do you, like literally the same way that you have a relationship like with a partner. I began having a relationship for like 2 or 3 days with like money just to test myself.
Hmm.
And I played the lottery because in that moment, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to play the lottery. I'm going to win. And I had a dream that my ex-boss gave me $2.5 million in a check. And he says, this is for you. Or like he said, like, this is for my brother. And I'm like, wait, your brother is dead. Why are you giving this check to your brother? And when I woke up out of the dream, I realized he's calling me his brother. And I told my friend, I'm going to win $2.5 million. And I played the lottery. Literally, I played the lottery.
I was gonna ask if you were playing the lottery. Okay, so did you win?
So I won $100,
Okay.
which
Yes.
was fine. But a week later, something happened that was visceral. I can't explain yet. That had nothing to do with like the lottery, but I might as well have won the lottery, where a large sum of money just showed up.
Wow.
After 27 years not being in touch with this person, that person just showed up out of nowhere and like said, I'm going to give you money. Literally like that. And I'm not kidding. And I'm not
Hey.
joking. I'm not fluffing. Literally and I'm saying like that person because I don't want to like give out like the gender. I'm being very careful in what I'm saying. And that person said, after 27 years, I was 17 years old like when I met that person, and I worked for that person. That's all I can say. But you guys like the world won't know because because like they don't know like that part of
Yeah.
my life. Um, apparently like when I was 17 years old, I was a super hard worker. Like we had just moved from Lebanon. I thought everybody like works hard like this. Like I was fresh off the boat. I'm like I barely spoke English, and like that person said, your work ethics and what you showed me like then I haven't forgotten, and literally I haven't had contact with this person for 27 years. That person found me on Facebook, and like we had a dialogue, and he said, I want to give you this.
Wow.
Wow.
When that, I swear to God, I'm not kidding. When that happened, I was in shock. I give money out so easily. I don't take. I never ask for help. I never ask for any of that. I just, my pride is to whatever you want to call it, but I'm learning to like receive. And it clicked a few days later that the aspect of money, and this is how, and the reason I'm giving you this example so the world can get excited, but also to show you how limited we are in what we think we are expanded. Meaning, when I had like the dream that I was given like $2.5 million. And when I had the romantic relationship, like with the idea of money, I defined it in my mind as winning money through lottery. Never in my mind did it cross that a stranger practically would show up after 27 years and offer free money, a large sum of money.
That's awesome.
Yes,
Absolutely awesome.
abundance shows up in different ways. And like now I'm like realizing every time I have these epiphanies and I begin to restructure the way that I'm doing things, that I also need to be like mindful. I'm not restricting the idea, and I'm just speaking like of money. It could be of love, it could be finding a husband or whatever. It could be whatever. We have to be mindful not to also restrict that new experience to come from one way, because that is constricting and restricting the universe to give it to you in many other ways. But the universe still showed up even though I was constricting it, because in that moment of my pure belief system that I am going to win, I am going to get something, something has shifted, because I know now I'm seeing money from a different lens. Money still showed up.
I feel like that plant medicine experience, if that's what it was trying to clear the way for this, to clear your own perspective on money.
Exactly. And like my intention like was to work with money, because I wanted to understand what money is. Like,
Mm.
what's the energy of money? Everybody talks energy, money, manifestation, all these like fluffy words like that we use. And the idea like, you know, of sex also has been conditioned through religion, through like governments, through there's creation in the and I'm not speaking like pornographic things or like sex. I'm speaking creation energy.
Mm.
The idea of feeling super vulnerable and having romance, unconditional love. Because listen, how are we created? Procreation happens through of like two being, in a sense, merging like into one under one aspect of love, and a new being is created, a child. Well, the same way like with money, when you begin having a romantic relationship with money, a new aspect of money can be born within you through frequency and like vibration. When you begin like seeing it from that perspective and going like within your shadows, how have you defined money in the past? I clearly define it. If I'm rich, I'm like greedy. This is why I give money all the time. That's why I'm super generous. Because if I'm not generous, I'm not a good boy. If I'm not generous, I'm not a good Christian. If I'm not generous, I am not loving. If I save money, because I'm not a saver, I mean, I can make a lot of money and I can give it away easily, which I always have done. And that was my struggle. I'm like, why can't I keep money? Why can I make so much and like give it away so much, but yet it's not staying with me? Because within myself, I have defined that if I keep money, then I am greedy.
Well, if you ever are looking for a place to give it away, you know, just keep me.
Mike and Stuart.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
But, but no, I mean, I totally resonate with all that too, because, like for me, and I was, I don't know, at one point we might do a whole episode on money, because I think it's very important for different reasons, perhaps. But like for me, money is security, money is love, money is freedom, you know, and the ability to do what you want is helping others. And it is just going off on a quick tangent here, but because you kind of queued that up, it is your viewpoint on it a lot of times that has to do with if you're going to receive it or not, and if you're going to receive as much as you want or not. And that was all, I think you said all that quite well. At least for me, it definitely resonated.
Yeah. Yeah. And then oftentimes we don't know that we have those definitions within us about money. That's the crux of it. And I'm trying to manifest, and I am manifesting, but I can't keep it, and I'm always giving it away, and I feel bad for the rest of the world. Literally, I help like your mind will explode at how generous I can be, and I have been. But it was coming from a place that wasn't self-loving. I also realized through like the shadow work that I was seeking for love and acceptance by like giving money away. Because I have turned off my emotions. I don't feel the aspects of love. I was doing, again, like a parrot, performing actions of love to receive love unconsciously, like to me. So there's a lot of layers to unpack. And when you begin unpacking and like realizing, you become so excited to unpack more and surrender and free ourselves from all the prisons that we have created consciously or unconsciously. This is why my like brain, my head, I'm gonna like come closer for a second. Like you'll see like that I have the light in the middle that's like surrounded by dark. We always have shadows to work on. Like there is no point where it's like, I worked all my shadows, I'm shadow free. That doesn't exist. There's always shadow work. So we're always surrounded by shadow, and like the light is inside, but it's all part of the journey. And you get to create and change and alter and witness and recreate and change and alter and witness constantly at will. Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah.
If you want me to take it out later, just let me know. But I hopefully we can keep it in though, because I think
No, no, no,
Yeah.
that
no.
was
Like,
great.
no, like keep everything in. It's
Okay.
what was
Awesome.
said.
Awesome.
I feel that's part of being authentic and real, and I trust spirit. Like when things come, although my mind says don't share yet, obviously spirit
I
pushed
pulled
and
it out of you.
yeah, so and I surrendered.
Just kidding.
Um,
But that was really great.
thank you.
Yeah, I feel the theme is not limiting yourself, not limiting your manifestation abilities by having preconceived ideas about whether you're worthy, whether you should get something, whether you shouldn't, whether you should give it away. And I'm really impressed because that's shadow work right there, dealing with these issues. And I tell you, I'm super impressed that it was brought to you before it manifested. Now, I kind of makes me wonder what came first, right? Was the prosperity on its way, and this plant medicine, which I think is what you're saying, was to clear the way for that, or did clearing the way facilitate it occurring? Because they're kind of related, aren't they?
Yeah. So look, and like again, I've always had abundance. Like with me, it's not making money; it's me keeping money for me because I always
Right.
gave it away. That was the thing. Um, and I struggled. I mean, I even had there's amazing astrologer in Ireland that I like booked a session with him, but he's so booked. It was a year and a half later. I thought it was for a few months later, but it was the year after 2020, like four it was. So anyhow, and I had forgotten like about it because who remembers a session a year and a half like ago like that you booked. And like he said, look, I can give you like a general reading, but what he likes to do is ask like the person that he's reading like the astrology. He's really like interesting in the way that he reads like that reads like astrology. He said, ask for questions that you want like answers for, and like one of the answers where the questions was why can't I save money? And I've been battling for this for like 10 years. I'm trying to figure out why and why am I so generous, blah blah. He literally said in like listen to this. He started laughing. He's like, when I got your answer and I looked, when he got like my question about why can't I keep money, he said, I looked at your chart and I started laughing. And he started laughing in front of me, like, what? He's like, literally, you don't ever, he's like, physically in your chart, whatever that means from his like perspective, physically in your chart, you don't ever have to worry about money because the universe is always there for you. Always, forever, forever. Whenever you want to create, it will be there for you. But the crux of it is the mind will always be afraid because you didn't save or you didn't do this. And it reflected back on like my life. Whenever I needed something, literally, I'm on the edge of like falling into this abyss of lack. Boom, like money. So the universe has proved that to me, and I should be like not worried. But he said your mind will always mess with you. Literally in your chart, I swear to God, and it just mind boggled me that he said that, but it makes sense now. Of course the universe is always there for us whenever we need it. Always. We always have, all of us have the capability. Even the idea of manifest feels really funny because manifest comes from the idea of lack, because if you know
Yeah.
you're the creator, there's no manifesting anything, you are the creator. But in that moment, yeah, I don't know, I feel that if I have not had that visceral like connection, my frequency would not have shifted. That money may have like come, but it like may have been slower. I believe I accelerated it in terms of it appearing in my life because it was always there. It was always an option, but it appeared a lot faster. There was an acceleration by that recognition of what relationship with money mean, and the fact that I allowed myself to have, to me from my lens, that that healthy relationship with money, when before it was an unhealthy like relationship, because I said if I save money I'm a greedy person, that only I'm a good person if I'm giving my money away. There's an unhealthy aspect there, so there's an unlocking of a new healthy like vibration that showed and reflected back through the friend that showed up out of the blue, literally out of the blue.
So, I mean, for me, this part of the conversation is also quite interesting too, and it may be more light will be shed on that as we go along here. But I wanted to say one other thing though. Oh yeah, so it's kind of like you have to take care of yourself first before you can help other people.
Yes, totally. But listen, even we all like know that. Even when you go on the plane, like they say, always put a mask so you can breathe, so you can help the child next, if you have a child, right? We understand those conceptual like ideas, and yes, like God forbid, in an emergency like situation, that may make sense. But for the rest of everyday living, the mundane like little things, there is a negligence of self because we're not taught. There's the idea like of like selfish, that if I'm keeping this or doing this, or if I'm getting a massage every day, or if I'm or whatever, there's an aspect within us, perhaps not every single one of us, but at least with me, there are many definitions. If I'm doing for myself a lot, it is selfish to do. Always help others. That's the path for ascension. That's what God says, right? Always help, so, and it could be also cultural, it could be like parental, it could be all kinds of layers. But you'll be surprised when you begin working on your shadows and really digging deep and allowing yourself, you'll find out there's definition after definition after definition that you had no idea existed. And that's why when you're attempting to manifest things, whether it's love, money, whatever it is, you're not manifesting to the degree of your wish. It's always an aspect of that wish, right? I mean, how many of us have said, I wish for $1 million, literally, or more?
Sure, everybody. Yeah.
Exactly. But nobody, I shouldn't say like, but a few of us got that $1 million. A lot of us got a portion of that, maybe 100, maybe 1,000, whatever. Why didn't we not reach 1 million? Because within us, there are aspects of us that aren't worthy of that million, or aren't something of that million, So, yeah.
Dang.
Because otherwise we all would have made the million. And it would have just happened instantaneously. The moment you put the wish out. Or whatever other wish. If you wanted the house, the car, I don't know, all the things. So when things aren't manifesting to the degree that you are desiring, go within and ask Spirit, ask yourself questions. What is there like within me, like that I'm not seeing? And if you cannot do it, like reach out to us, or like to me, or to other people, like teachers that can help assist you. Because each modality, each like teacher, and it's not about having one teacher where you go to him or her all the time. You can have several teachers, because each and every one of them will give you a key to unlock your heart, yourself more and more and more. And all you need is one visceral like example to prove to yourself that self-work is the key, where you become obsessed with like self-work and unlocking the wisdom within, and the abundance within, and the manifestation within, and the like divinity like within. And how beautiful. Because when you begin to vibrate on the frequency of self-knowingness, you also begin emanating it to the world. Everywhere you walk, you don't have to say a word. Your vibration frequency of knowing yourself will begin unlocking others and giving them the opportunity to unlock like themselves. And I'm not only speaking of humans. The tree that you may walk on, that you like may pass by, the bird that may fly like above you, you're giving them access to their own like self-knowingness, because not everything, not all consciousnesses know themselves fully. Why? I go back to the aspect of the like the infiniteness. Infinity always like keeps on going and going and going. So the idea of who you are as an all is like forever going. So there's a gift in gifting yourself the access to your own wisdom. You gift the rest of the consciousness, the frequency and the vibration to be able to find themselves. Because the more you live in the darkness and in the forgetfulness, you're emanating that vibration frequency, creating a consciousness, a collective consciousness of forgetfulness too. So it goes beyond the idea of self. You're really awakening other parts of yourself. So the collection of souls, consciousness, can begin to see themselves as a whole. And it goes on and on and on and on into all realities and dimensions and, like densities and all that stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
So can we talk with the Mantis as well?
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
Yes. I'll bring through.
So as a quick reminder too, the last time we did it, while you were sort of getting in the zone, there's going to be a little silence. So for our audio only folks, there's going to be a little bit of silence. For the visual folks, I'll put up that animation again that shows people where the Antares star system is, just in case you were wondering. But I've got, I think, like 11, I'm going to say 11 plus 1 questions here, and I'm sure Stuart might have a few too. So,
Like they're gonna tone, so they elongate words as like they say. I forget how they say it, but they'll say it when they say it. And then like they'll get to a point where they share a quick message, very short, and then they say you're welcome to ask a question. When you hear that, you can begin dialogue with them.
Okay, great.
Okay, cool.
Thanks so much.
So are we ready?
Yeah, whenever you are.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna invite you to close your eyes and open your heart. And to me, what open your heart means, it means the following, and this is for your audience, to whoever will be watching this. Whatever society said that you cannot do, every restriction, limitation, wrong or right, in this session, you are welcome to do. And when I say anything, I mean anything. Because once you feel that vibration, your heart opens without restrictions. And you allow the co-creation and energy between us to be one, to be unlimited, to gain and bring in the wisdom and the knowledge. And from the Antares Stargate, we come through in this way to co-create with you this beautiful reality of oneness. To merge our hearts with your hearts. To be one with you in this way. To be one with the energy of sound, vibration, color frequencies, and light that each and every one of you is. And as we connect with you in this way, we are here to remind you that you are multifaceted beings. That through your journey, through your life's story, you are expanding your own knowledge of who you are as a being. And through the interactions with others, through you witnessing them through your lens, is also allowing your awareness of whom you are as an individual, in a sense, and as a collective, to become aware of itself as the more. And the more and more that you receive those aspects of the all as being part of the path, and acknowledging that they are playing a role to allow the creator, the intelligence, the all, God, to know itself through that act, through that role play, is how you continue, in a sense, to allow yourself to receive the clear messages back to your heart, to see your interconnectedness with all, to see your beingness in the many that are around you. And with that, we will begin our dialogue with you this way. You are welcome to pose a question or make a statement when you are ready.
Thank you for taking the time to visit with us today. And my first question is that currently, and most specifically in the ufology world, there are many people who are predicting some type of catastrophic event will potentially happen in the year 2026 or 2027. Can you speak about that, please?
The idea of predictions. Be mindful when you pose that question to yourself. When you are asking yourself as a being, what this year is going to be about. Keep in mind that you are, in a sense, attached, tethered to many probabilities and possibilities of realities that emanate through you to begin with the co-creation of others. So should anyone come up to you and says, I am prophesizing this will happen, yes, that is a one probability and possibility of many. But when you begin to pose yourself that question, be also mindful of the disempowerment of self that you are projecting. You are clarifying for yourself that I am searching for knowledge for what is going to happen in this year because I do not trust myself to know what's going to happen this year. You see, when you begin to dialogue further with self and encourage yourself to push the boundaries of disempowerment, or should we say, remembering that you are already empowered, you will begin to remember that your vibration and frequency, thoughts, emotions, your belief systems within your essence as the projector, as the channel has already said, as the generator of realities, have the power to adjust, shift the frequency of the timeline that you are on. Does that make sense?
It does, yes. Thank you.
From our perspective, when you pose that question, when you posed that question a few minutes ago of your timing, that timeline has already shifted. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the answer that we would have given you based on the vibration and frequency when that question was posed has embedded in it a different reality than from when we are going to answer you right now and the next second and the next second and the next second. And why? Because each and every one of you is interconnected to the fabric of all creation. Each and every one of you are intelligence, in a sense, an internet, dialoguing and communicating constantly over and over again with all consciousnesses, within all realities, within all possibilities, within all dimensions, within all densities. You see how complex the web of creation is when you begin to dive deeper into what that means?
Yes.
So from our perspective, when such a question is posed, by the time we have already answered that question, that reality has already shifted.
Wow.
And in reality, all possibilities are possible and probable. That should you become or fall into the belief system of another being, another teacher whom has said, let's assume for a moment, another teacher said, this year you're going to have earthquakes and you're going to have a volcano in Indonesia that is going to erupt and you are going to have war on your planet, etc., etc. Should you begin believing that possibility and probability and give it the fuel to begin to happen, to create, to manifest, then you will. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
And the reason that we are, in a sense, dissecting such questions, because we are attempting to remind you of that you are the vessel in which you create. That through the act of disempowerment, you give power to someone else to create a reality for you, although you are creating that reality for yourself by believing someone else. So you get to choose, and you also get to honor other people's perspective. That it is okay, in a sense, all of it is okay. But should you choose to honor somebody else's reality and then stand within your own sovereignty and say, yes, within all the realities, I can see how that teacher is, in a sense, seeing through his lens that potentiality of the following earthquakes or volcano eruptions or whatever may be, dramas or traumas of this three-dimensional reality. But within my own awareness of who I am, I choose to be on a timeline of, then you begin creating that for yourself. And even though within that timeline, let's assume for a moment, whatever prediction is happening within your own world, within your own vibration and frequency, you can live a separate reality. In a way, you can, and each and every one of you lives in a glass, clear bubble where you are able to witness other realities, and those realities have no effect on your reality. Is that clear?
Yes, so it sounds like every person on the planet effectively can make the decision if that will come true for them or not.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. And how you co-create and interact and learn and see the mirroring effect of what you are witnessing. It
Wow.
is a layer over layer. It is many webs. When we say you are multi-dimensional beings, we are not simply saying you have many forms that live on multiple dimensions. Within this dimension, you are able to experience multi-dimensionality through the act of separation. Does that make sense?
Yes. So what about a similar but different? There's an object right now in space that's sort of hurling towards Earth at a ridiculous speed that's not projected to come anywhere near the planet at all and is not a danger. But in terms of the object known as 3I Atlas, is that object natural or manufactured?
The channel is unfamiliar, we will say, within his frequency and vibration of that, we will say, intelligence. Even the idea of manufacturing a new modality, a new ship, we will say, a new frequency and vibration is of intelligence. We will share with you that that being, because essentially that is an aware consciousness of self, is already aware of the planetary systems and the planetary vibration and frequencies of your planet and other planets on its course. And as you begin dialoguing with it, as you begin to become more aware of it, and within your own self formulate stories, we will say formulate realities, it is also receiving such. So be mindful in how you are co-creating with that intelligence. That should humanity begin all of a sudden live in the vibration and fear, that may hit Earth, that may redirect itself towards Earth, you will be creating such reality. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So always be mindful on how you are interacting with other intelligences.
Thank you. That was wild. That's great.
Yes.
Um,
And we will also share one more tidbit for your audience to know. That the fact that humanity is able to see visually, to experience viscerally, an object, we will say, an intelligence that seems to be coming out further in the ether, in the galaxies near Earth, that vibration and frequency alone, that manifestation of such an intelligence already tells you that many of your humans are working and expanding their own consciousness of belief that there is more beyond humans on this planet. That ship, we will say, that intelligence isn't by coincidence passing by Earth. It is of creation from humanity, from the consciousness, the collective consciousness of all the people and the surrounding consciousnesses that are co-creating with humanity in such a creation. As we said before, everything is a mirror reflecting back to you what you are unable to see clearly within your heart. And we are speaking as the collective heart of humanity and your Mother Earth. Is that clear?
yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we're drawing that into our experience, and it's also indicative of how open people are to these concepts now.
Indeed. And some of your, we will say, population, some of your people are beginning to do testing of belief systems. You may have heard of some of the tests that have happened before, perhaps through your marketing organizations, where a group of people on your planet will begin to meditate or pray for a certain thing, and that thing will begin to happen. There will be a group of people on your planet that begin to connect with the consciousness of such intelligence. You can do that on your own. Each and every one of you can. And believe and trust the information and the data that you are receiving from that intelligence. As when you profess to the universe that I am, with your intention, I am attempting to connect with what seems to be an object hovering near Mother Earth. And trust the images, the intuition, the memories that are being reflected back to you. you are expanding through that idea. You are allowing that recognition that what seems to be separate from you, you are able to communicate with, and that will bring you closer to yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
the very basis of remote viewing, and it's prompted in my mind that there probably are people remote viewing that object. In fact, we are collectively, is what your point is.
Yes, indeed.
I'm kind of curious about the physical beings who live in other places, and if they have a financial system, and if so, how would that compare to our current capitalistic system?
Again, many realities, many probabilities, many possibilities. We will give you one example of a species that lives, we will say, near the vibration and frequency of your humanity, that is dealing with the idea of money from, we're going to say the word unconditionally loving aspect. That although money is being exchanged, it is being related to from a different frequency, from a frequency of always available, from a frequency of, the idea of lack doesn't exist within that frequency. So that money, in a sense, is being circulated within those beings with less effort, with, we will say, instant manifestation. But as that is happening, the value of such money that those beings have had initially is beginning to become less valuable. And what is beginning to become more valuable is the frequency and the energy in which two of the beings are co-creating with each other as they are exchanging what you call money. Does that make sense?
Somewhat.
Yeah, the money is just a representation for the manifestation, Mike, I believe is what's being said here.
Yes, the money is a representation of the frequency and vibration of the beings. That although initially when they created the idea of money, it had initially a, a hint, we will say, of lack, but with a higher vibrational frequency of unconditional love. And the more and more and more that those beings co-create the idea of money with each other, the more that they are coming from an unconditional aspect of self, that hint of lack begins to fall away. When that falls away, and when they are co-creating the idea of money from unconditional love, the value of such money begins to fall away, meaning soon enough, the idea of money will fizzle away on their planet. And they will begin to vibrate the unconditional frequency as money. Does that make sense?
Yes, very interesting.
And we can go in deeper into many other beings that don't even have money on their planet. There is a exchange of service, we will say, the best way to describe it to you, to where each and every one of those beings are fully aware with their interconnectedness with their planet, and the service that they are giving to each other and to the planet is a form of exchange.
Wow.
Yes, and what they receive is a reflection from their earth, we will say, from their planet. What they will receive is the reflection back from their own species, we will say, ascending, becoming more interconnected beyond their physicality into their light energy and body. Does that make sense?
It does. Along those same lines, what about a system, a governmental body? Do these beings and these other planets, if you will, have governmental systems like we do?
Again, within the infiniteness of all, yes. But allow us to pose a question for you. Out of curiosity, what is the relevancy in knowing whether or not other planets or other dimensions or species have a system similar to yours?
I feel like both our governmental system and financial system, although as good as it is, I can't think of anything better. I still feel like there is a better way, and that those are the two main problems with humanity that, if we're solvable, we could easily move into this spirit of unity on a global basis. So I'm trying to discover if another civilization has already figured that out and solved that problem, if you will.
Thank you for being honest with us. We probed, we will say, on purpose because we knew the vibration and frequency of such a question. There are two folds to such a question. We will begin with the easier one, in a sense, and then we'll delve into the other one that perhaps will take more probing. Instead of, and we are here to allow you to expand your mind, instead of assuming that other species have a system similar to yours, why not invite through your own channel, and we are speaking to each and every one of you, to discover what systems are there from those planets? Why not allow the connection that you already have through your interconnectedness with all, your own intelligence, to communicate to other species to share with you what form of government, should that even exist on their planet, to be like? Because oftentimes humanity assumes that other planets have the same system. Humanity assumes that other beings see their world and the idea of money and government and society and education and self, etc., from the lens in which you see yourself. An invitation for you to expand the way in which you decide to interact with other consciousnesses. But let's go back to the other part in which you have judged, our dearest one, the way that you are living your life and humanity as well. The idea of judging that you are wondering if there is a better system out there that other species have uncovered. You have already deemed that your government and this path is of no value or less value than others. And that is the trick, our dearest one. And that is where unconditional love comes in many layers. And the vibration and frequency of realizing and receiving that wisdom is through unconditional love. That even though you specifically, as a being that have chosen to live on this earth, forgetting your access to all and living through the idea of separation, and with all the other souls, all the other ascended masters on your planet, humans or non, that have also chosen to live on this planet through the idea of forgetfulness, that this path you are going through is ascension, is of value, is allowing you to experience part of the infinite, allowing you to begin to stretch your love to the vibration of unconditional, that even though there are wars on your planet, there are death in a sense, although death doesn't exist on your planet, there's the idea of victimhood and disempowerment and forgetfulness and separation, etc., is of value. When you begin to unconditionally love all of it as part of creation, in a sense, will give you access to other systems on other planets, and will reintegrate you personally into the whole, and will reintegrate the idea of humanity into your own wholeness. Because every time you judge an aspect of thyself or of humanity, you stay longer and longer into the idea of forgetfulness. Does that make sense?
Yes. So are there, for lack of a better term, is there a race of beings who live inside the earth that's non-human?
There are beings that live inside the earth of non-humanoid origin. And we are speaking of this physical earth, not another dimension within earth, because as you know, there are other dimensions on the frequency of vibration of this earth where other beings reside, yes?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The idea of Sasquatch, we will say, Bigfoot, Some of them reside on your earth physically, and others come in through other dimensions, parallel realities. Does that make sense?
Yes.
There are insectoid beings that reside on your earth, on this planet, in this dimension. And there are others that come in from other portals. Again, when we talk about you being interconnected to all, we are also speaking of planetary bodies. We are also speaking of dimensions and densities. That web of connection goes to everything, to all. So there is always an access to. And when you begin to shift your vibration and frequency, like a radio station, to a different, in a sense, frequency, you will be able to see and experience those dimensions and densities. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
And the more that you think of, and we go back to your question, what lives inside of Mother Earth? The way in which you pose that question, if you are posing it through an unconscious belief system within you that you are separate than, then you will experience in reality of. But when you pose a question from a full consciousness that you are interwebbed with all, you have greater access to whichever being you choose to connect with.
Okay.
And from that knowingness of empowering yourself, having access to all, the question becomes irrelevant. Because you know through your vibration and frequency, you can shift to any frequency and connect with any being within this earth or within other aspect of earth. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
These next two questions for me personally sort of became irrelevant, but I would like to ask them anyway on behalf of the people who have asked them so they can hear the answer. Is there any other species in existence that hates itself as much as humanity to the extent that it kills each other the way that humanity does?
Yes. Why? Again, the idea of infinite aspects, even the idea of hate lives in many shades. The idea of love lives in many shades. Many planets, we will say, live the idea that your humanity has lived. And many other planets experience the same idea but from a different lens. One example, a world exists where war exists. Children die, women die, men die, bloodshed everywhere. But both species are fully aware that death doesn't exist. That even though the act of playing out the war is triggering within themselves feelings and emotions that they have chosen to experience from this new lens. They fully know that they are, for the lack of a better word, ascended masters, light beings, playing out roles of killing, perpetrator and victim, both fully realizing that they are ascended masters. Seeing that whole dynamic from a different lens, allowing them to experience aspects of love, a feeling of killing, aspects of hatred from a different shade, allowing them to understand themselves as the infinite beings that they are. And because of that clear awareness and recognition that they are ascended masters, the planet that they are on reflects back in different ways. There is beauty on that earth, we will say, on that planet, that is 1,000,000 times, for the sake of clarity, more beautiful than your mother planet. Because the beings see themselves and recognize and realize that they are ascended masters and light beings beyond the intellect, reflects in such a planet. Because on that planet what exists is extreme beauty and extreme, we will say, darkness, both valued as part of creation, both seen from a sense of value, from a lens of value of creation. both fully recognized as part of creation. So the whole dynamic on such a planet plays out differently than your Mother Earth. There is more remembrance than what Earth has. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
And that is one example of the many infinite, our dearest ones.
So, similar to that, why is it that we, the humans, seem to be genetically designed to kill each other or want to kill each other when we simply disagree?
We will say the word designed, simply for clarity, you are not designed by some other higher power. You have designed yourself that way specifically to experience a shade of creation. The short answer. You chose to come with the memories that you already have and with the forgetfulness that you chose to forget, allowing you a rediscovery of self from a new lens and perspective. Was that clear?
Kind of. Can you elaborate just a little bit more? I'm still not quite gelling with that.
Yes. Can you repeat the question for us again?
Why does it seem that humans are genetically designed to kill each other when they disagree with each other?
Specifically when they disagree with each other?
Yes. For example, let's say I believe in one type of, let's say, a God figure, and somebody else believes in a different God figure. And because my belief is different than theirs, they want to kill me or vice versa.
The idea of war. We are attempting to put the words into an understandable frequency and vibration for you. The idea of being designed again isn't by another frequency, another being. You have chosen to forget certain aspects of self to allow yourself to experience another aspect of self. And because you haven't received fully the value of your own self internally, what scares you, what scares the idea of one human fighting with another because both have different belief systems in gods, let's say. The fear that should you not believe in my God elicits within the self the question, do I really know who God is? You doubt yourself in a sense whether your God is the God that you are fighting for, because you have never truly remembered who God is to begin with. So you create the illusion that the God you believe in is the one, that any other God is a false God, when it all emanates within your own internal dialogue of not really trusting or knowing who God is. Because in reality, that illusion of the God that you created, that illusion of the God that you created is a pushing away and denial of the God that is already within you. Does that make sense? There is a fear of receiving the total godness of who you are. And it is easier when you deny thyself the full power of who you are to create an illusion of and to keep distracting yourself from going within.
Thank you.
Yes.
You sort of answered this already, but again, I want to ask the question that's already here. Did we actually evolve from apes, or were we genetically engineered from them?
We will say, the idea of reality. Your DNA structure, humanity, contains many DNA structure of many beings across the cosmos. You did not originate, we will say, on this planet. There wasn't, in a sense, another being in which the DNA got tweaked, we will say, and then humanity ascended. The idea of realization, we will give it to you this way, and bear with us here, as this will illuminate your mind a little further. The channel had an experience a month and a half ago of your timing, where he was called to work with the mushroom medicine. He hasn't worked with this mushroom for over 2 years. He has experienced the idea of mushroom for a month, where he micro dosed, was afraid to even microdose, that he went triple the microdosing, having no effect, in a sense, to his own consciousness. Mushrooms began appearing everywhere, and he knew the call. His heart dropped to the ground. He felt the fear that the mushroom energy is calling him. He canceled his whole weekend, and he went to New York to a friend of his and experienced the idea of mushroom. While under the state, he consciously posed the question, what is my body? What is body? And what was revealed to him was mind-shattering. What was revealed to him was an ancestral line of energies. The many selves that he has lived. There is only the now moment of creation. We are saying the idea of lived in the past, so your audience can draw out that image, construct that image. Within the consciousness of mushroom, he saw the lineage of all of the selves that he has lived. And each of those selves had hoped a different life. Are you following us?
Yes.
Each of his versions were, in a sense, incomplete with the life that they have lived, that each self wished, I wish I had a different life, and there were specifics with each one. This version of him, the channel in this life, is the hopes and dreams of all of the other versions that have wished a different type of self. That's when his realization, before his physical body became physical, he was a realization of hopes and dreams of other past selves. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And that created his body on this planet. So the idea of humanity was, in a sense, the realization and the hopes and dreams of many other planetary bodies that lived the idea of humans, that they weren't satisfied with where they were. They wished another aspect of humanity to be born. And that's where this specific humanity was born with specific codes, frequencies, vibrations, and DNA structure of the many collective consciousnesses of other humanities. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Wow. Is that true of everybody here on this earth?
Yes.
I see.
You have been described as geneticists, and you have a knowledge base of genetics. Can you explain how genetic memory works, and how genetic memory can survive or transfer negative events or trauma over generations? And then how can someone currently here today wash away those traumas from previous generations?
Yes. Again, the idea of genetics and genes from the perspective of humanity and scientists, we will say, is also seen from a separate perspective. the idea of separation. And that is the point for this humanity, is to experience that shade of separation and to understand the aspects of genes. But genes essentially are consciousness, are their own planet. The DNA structure in itself, the atom itself, is a whole universe. Allow us to illuminate your mind. The idea of Mother Earth, right here and right now. The idea of humans on this planet, right here and right now. The idea of the plant life, the weather system, etc., on this planet, right here and right now, is an atom of something larger. Sit with that for a moment. Your humanity, your planet, your weather system, everything else that's contained within what you call Mother Earth is an atom of a higher, more expanded consciousness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
So when you begin to understand the idea of genes or atoms or molecules or every other description on your path of exploration as scientists, to comprehend them more and begin to really fall into the knowingness that it is intelligence constantly communicating through the idea of interconnectedness to all, to each other, then the idea and the question in which you posed, what is genetics in a sense, begins to fall away, fully realizing that the experience itself of your own consciousness, to become aware of yourself as a human being, and we are placing the little marker as this tiny human compared to the larger consciousness, will begin to change. And when you fully realize the idea of intelligence and the interconnectedness, you begin to see that everything has always been interconnected to all of the lives, to all of the lineage, past lives, future lives, now lives. That all of it is constantly communicating to each other and sending to each other signals, we will say, of awakening or of sleeping, of forgetfulness. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And the more that you fall into the knowingness that intelligence is like a current that is always feeding the rest of the organism, then the idea of traumas falling away isn't really falling away. It is the ascension of consciousness of such a trauma that it realizes itself as part of the Creator. That there is no pushing away or clearing away. It is all of integration and allowing the consciousness of the all, that even the idea of trauma is its own planetary body of intelligence, fully forgetting itself what it is, but through the experience that you have with it, you awaken it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It gets slightly complex when you intertwine all of these layers together, and the aware consciousness of each of the individual parts of what makes a larger individual or consciousness. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yes.
it does. It's fractal in nature. I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yes. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Are you sure?
I am sure, yes. It's a lot to digest, but I feel like I understand the answer to the question.
Yes.
Will
You
there...
see,
I'm sorry.
you see, we have gotten acclimated to the idea which humans pose questions. And there is no fallacy in such question, as each lens is of value to creation. Each lens allows you to see yourself in the world and the whole consciousness from that. But we are attempting, as you pose such questions, to begin to reformulate such a question from a wider perspective. But when you begin to realize such wider perspective, that question will fall away and you'll begin to reformulate it in a different vibration and frequency that allows you access to the more.
Okay. There is also a fair amount of talk within what we call the ufology world about potential contact or mass contact event with what I'm going to call ETs or non-humans. And I'm wondering if such a moment would actually ever happen, if the governments of our world do not announce it. And by that I mean, would what I'm calling these ETs ever reveal themselves to us at some point in time? And if so, when would that be?
The short answer is yes. And you will reveal to yourself through your vibration of frequency of unconditional love toward thyself that you are the ETs that you are searching for.
Wow.
You are the extraterrestrial intelligence that you always have been searching for. Because the moment that you begin to vibrate the embodiment of unconditional love, you will begin to recognize within your physical body, within your DNA structure, within your life structure, all of the other beings that seemed to be separate from you and coming from outer space. You will begin to realize they always have been within you. Fully recognizing that you chose this humanity, this aspect of beingness, to experience part of the infinite.
Thank you.
Yes. And like the channel mentioned before, the vibration of frequency of unconditional love is the signal for what seems to be separate to show up in your life. As in that moment, you would have integrated every piece of your own puzzle back to yourself to see your world from a different lens and to realize that those beings have always existed amongst you, within you.
Well, thank you very much. My final question is a little bit of a personal question and perhaps a selfish question, but is there anything, any type of message or information that myself or Stuart should be aware of or hearing right now?
That was a self-loving question, our dearest one. There was no fish within that self. Do you comprehend us?
I don't think I do.
You said this was perhaps a selfish question.
Oh.
We are attempting to be funny, to make you aware in which you pose a question. Because should you have posed a question from the frequency and vibration of fully loving self, you would have received an answer appropriate to that vibration. But because you already went in it with the idea of selfishness, a judgment of self, an answer of such will be given. Does that make sense?
Yes, may I restate the question, please?
Yes.
What message or information should myself or Stuart hear right now?
Self-loving you are. Allow us to connect with you first, and then we'll connect with the being you named Stuart. Close your eyes and fully open your heart to us. Reveal to us who you are. An image of whom you call a gray alien was just shown. That you will begin to have memories of being aboard a ship with whom you call the gray aliens. Beautiful beings of light, not, we will say, what your government has described them to be. You have chosen to be on that ship specifically to, we will say, co-create with them You have donated part of your genes to them for their own exploration. And in return, they have been guiding you in many synchronistic ways. In return, they have turned on a gene within your system that allows you the intuitive access that you have. And we will say that program, that co-creation is about to end. And before such an end, although there are no ends, they will reveal themselves to you again, perhaps in the dream state. It may be in other synchronistic ways. It may be a TV show you may be watching. It may be a thing you may be watching on the internet. But a gray alien will show where in that moment you will lose track of time. And in what seems to be a lost track of time, you will reconnect with them. And an honor exchange will happen. A thanks of gratitude will occur, to where you will continue your journey connecting with other beings. In other words, the journey of connecting with the grays, perhaps unconscious to your mind now, will become conscious again to say your goodbyes, although there are no goodbyes. There is a shift of focus, and a new aspect of being will emerge, will begin to connect with you. And you get to decide how to explore that connection with them. Those beings, the new beings, will be connected to the idea of sunlight and photonic energies. That is all we are allowed to say at this moment for your co-creation before we dilute your experience.
Thank you.
Yes, and you also have a dragon guide that will emerge should you not already know. The dragon energies are becoming more apparent within your field.
Thank you.
Yes. Shall we move on to Stuart?
Please.
Our dearest one, close your eyes, should they not be closed, and open your heart fully. Reveal thyself to you. Many lives, we will say, of quote unquote ascended mastery you have lived. You have experienced the vibration and frequency of whom you call Buddhic nature, Buddha nature. The idea of being in solitude you have lived. The connection with silence you also have viscerally experienced. And it is a lifetime that you chose over and over and over again in many realities, many shades, many lenses. You also have been a shepherd. We are showing the channel the image of a staff guiding others to enlightenment. You are a man of word. Words, vibration and frequency carries within each word that you choose. And oftentimes you speak, we will say in a channeled state. There are things that come out of your mouth that oftentimes your mind realizes, where did that come from? Yes, each and every one of you does channel. But when you have that recognition for a moment, you have a visceral memory of the previous, the parallel reality that you are living as the guide. So feel free to call on those versions of you that have lived what you call, humanity called, ascended path. The search for self, the knowing for self. And you also have connected to the idea of stars, that from the lens of separation and forgetfulness, you have connected with the stars. A new passion, we will say, that will reignite within your field, where you will begin to view the stars from a different lens, and you begin to communicate and receive messages perhaps in other realities were unclear. In this new reality, it will become more clear. And you also will begin a new relationship with the angelic realms. We have shown the channel 2 wings growing, unfurling, that you have always had, but were afraid to open up. The angelic frequency and vibration will assist you on unfurling such wings, for you to begin to, we will say, fly freely as you deserve. And you have also lost a son in a previous life. That version of you is still mourning. That version of you that has lost a son is asking the gods, the universe, for assistance. You will be that answer to that call. So feel free to connect to that version of you and give the peace that that other version of you desires. Are there any further questions that we can help answer for you?
I want to say thank you, express my gratitude for that. That was very powerful. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you as well. I think that will conclude our questions.
With our unconditional love. Bright, 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 white light of creation. In the darkest shadows of who we are, we thank you for this beautiful co-creation of oneness and for allowing us to see you fully in your glory and for allowing us to expand through your own awareness of who you are as we have expanded with you. And the Creator itself, as consciousness, as intelligence, knows more about itself and has expanded through each and every one of your stories. This is how valuable your lifetime is. Each and every one of you is of value to creation. Every experience that you had, every breath that you had, every heartbeat that you have, every step that you have taken, are taking, and will take, will always be what expansion is, allowing the universe and consciousness to know itself through you. We will bring the channel back momentarily as we head back to the Antares Stargate.
My gosh, Tony.
Hi guys, oh my goodness. Hi.
Hi there.
How are you?
Do you, so how much, I mean, I think we talked about this last time, but how much of that do you remember, or do you remember any of it? I mean, that was, wow.
So it's like a dream. Like right now, all I remember is like the ending of what they said, and it's like fizzling away. But as we talk, I may get triggered, and I don't remember like I remember I said. I just know what was said, and I say it. It's like a dropping of knowingness. Like I could be showering later, I could be in the bathroom, I could be driving, and like memory will come of like what was said, just like synchronistically. Yeah. Yeah, I really don't remember anything right now. I see angel wings.
Wow.
That's all I see right now. But as we talk, we
Wow.
probably will, more things will come.
Well, I mean, at the end, I asked a question, personal about each of us, and I don't even know what to make of what I heard. It was
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
Yes.
It had something to do with a gray alien and potential interactions with them that were, I guess, going to come to an end at some point soon. I mean, Stuart and I have talked in the past where, we have not really shared our personal things, and I don't have any memories of a gray alien, as it were, but I do have plenty of weird memories of sorts that are just fragmented that I don't know what to make of. But
Yeah.
do you have any insight in terms of, they also said something about the dragon energy is either going to appear, if it's not already, in my world, as it were? Like, what is the dragon energy?
Yeah, so like let me talk about the gray like quickly because I'm just feeling this. Whatever you
Okay.
experienced before that you thought you experienced were grays, but your mind, I will say, created an illusion, or they perhaps didn't want to show themselves fully to you because you weren't ready to receive them.
Okay.
So those fragmented memories may seem one thing when it was actually the grays. And I'm not saying all fragmented memories, but an aspect, of them. The dragon, I mean, I don't know a lot about dragons. All I know, like when I see them, I just see them and I know that I have to say dragons. But there are physical dragons. There are like energetical dragons. I'm seeing a red dragon for you, like for some reason right now. I don't know if red means anything to you. There's an aspect of, and I know dragons like spit out fires. That's not where this is coming from. But there's an aspect with this dragon that will help you ignite something within you that you haven't fully surrendered to. He's going to push you over the edge. And you're going to have to trust. Whatever that is, it's time for you. I'm hearing speak what you, like walk what you, God, like what's the saying where they say like don't do the, like,
Walk the walk or talk the talk?
yes, so you're going to walk the talk.
Okay.
Energy dragons are amazing. They come from like magical lands. They have magical energies. This one feels masculine, like male energy. He's been your guide for a while, but you just weren't aware of him. Now he's gonna come and push you over the edge. Not like push you over the edge, but just a shift is gonna happen for a part of you that you've been not ready to reveal or like take on, or and work with crystals. He may, I don't know if you work with crystals now at all, but he may come through that.
Oh, that's pretty interesting because it's about 2 weekends ago now. I was out with a friend in Landers, California, and because I was there, I wanted to go to Joshua Tree because I knew that there was a store there that had crystal bowls that I've wanted to get for years, and I bought myself a full set of the quartz crystal bowls.
Perfect. Because crystal bowls are vibration and frequency access, and you can put an intention as you're playing it, and it can open up a world for you. So if you want to connect more with this dragon, or even with the gray aliens, put the intention and begin playing the bowl. It opens up a wormhole for you.
Awesome.
Well, I want to thank you for the messages you brought through to me. Very interesting. I'm going to have to listen to it again to fully absorb it, but I've heard some similar things along the way. So there was some kind of affirmations for me as well. Very grateful.
Yeah, I'm feeling like it's not a coincidence that I make up words. It's like not a coincidence that you do like reverendry here, being a reverend. What I'm feeling right now is you've always had a role of understanding consciousness. Like you've always led people. So it's in each life it's a different facet. I see a man with a staff right now, like fully in his knowingness of who he is, full connection with God, and the angelic realms are also coming. I don't know if have you ever connected with the angel, like the angelic realms consciousness?
Kind of, yeah, in a way that I probably wouldn't get into in this show, but I would privately with you, yeah.
Yeah. So you're ready to open up your wings.
Wow.
What I'm feeling is and it's going to sound funny, there's dust on the wings.
Okay.
You've placed your wings on a shelf. I mean, your wings are always there, obviously, but you've placed them on a shelf that's a lot of dust collected. And it's time to open them.
Wow, that's very interesting.
And I'm not speaking of angels from the aspect we know angels from religion. I'm speaking of angelic frequencies. This is a collection of angels, like a collective of angels that are. I'm hearing sound, made of color frequencies, like similar to kind of mantises. A higher resonance of what an angel means. And that's always been within your blueprint. That's why you've been guided all these other lives, or you've been called and like desired to live a reverendry type life, but and it doesn't have to do with a like religion, but like reverendry, like reverence for self. And like silence, I don't know if you sit with silence like a lot, but you've connected very well with silence. Within the silence where all knowledge is, within the silence where you can hear everything.
Yeah, I've even had that experience in this incarnation where I discussed it in another podcast where I used to sit in a forest fire tower for months on end.
Yes. The sun just came through. The energy of sun I think, for Mike. Did they talk about the sun with you?
Yeah,
I think they
I
mentioned
remember
something
hearing
about
that.
a sun with Stuart, but not
No,
for
no,
me.
no. Like the sun, like the planet, like photons,
Oh,
photonic energies.
if they did, I missed it, and I'll catch it on the second time around.
Okay, I'm not sure, but I don't know why I'm feeling they talked about photonic energies. It's like somebody's gonna connect with the idea
Yeah,
of
I remember hearing that,
Oh, I
Mike.
remember
Yeah.
hearing photonic energy. I don't I
Hmm.
don't recall hearing that with the sun specifically.
yeah,
If I could do a quick sidebar too, just because it seems relevant.
yeah.
Several years ago, I went to Mexico with a friend of mine to meet another friend, and we went to the Pyramid of the Sun out there. It was like a cloudy day, and this was back when digital cameras were first coming out. So I had like one of the original OG digital cameras, right? Anyway, I stand in front of the Pyramid of the Sun and I stretch out my arms, above my head, just like that. And the moment that I did that, and my friend was taking a picture. I swear to God, man, it was just, I don't know, the clouds parted enough for a single beam of light to shine down like being like a spotlight. The picture
Wow.
was taken and the clouds moved back over, and then it was a cloudy day. That was a pretty wild pretty wild time.
You're gonna begin to connect with the idea of sun from an intelligent way. That what we think the sun is, and like the light coming through, is not just like the light because there's so many volcanoes on the sun or however the sun works. There's constant communication of intelligence. So when you begin to recognize the sun as a being, as a live entity within yourself, because again, we experience the idea of sun through the lens of limitation when that sun resides within your heart, within your field. You can begin to dialogue and receive through the photonic, I'll say, transportation, like back and forth. You can receive messages. So no coincidence that when you were at the Pyramid of the Sun, it was cloudy, there was a ray of sun. You revealed that to yourself. That didn't just happen by coincidence. So
Right.
if you have that photo still,
I do. I'll toss it up right somewhere in here.
yeah,
Be
look
great.
at it and like meditate with it. Now with the aware, we stretch your consciousness
Okay.
now. And they're saying we, oh God, I'm here though. They stretch your consciousness into understanding that incident that happened isn't just a stream of cool light that came in from the clouds. It looks like a stream of information in a sense. It's so like, so begin dialoguing like with the sun. And don't feel surprised that you are looking at the sun more, that you're like recognizing things in like light, that you may see like sunlight through a window or through your car where like you're second guessing yourself for a second. Fall into the state of like meditation and receive the messages.
Okay.
Now, welcome to the world of Mantis beings. Again, they're abstract, they're very expanded. We're all learning how to communicate with things because we've been so brainwashed. Communication looks like this, and communication happens only with these beings. Now you're beginning to recognize that sun is a being, the light is a being. Angels are real. There are physical angels. There are there are energetical angels. There's collection of angelic frequencies, and it's hard. It's like what I'm feeling right now because they showed me right now is with my eyes open is like how we see like frequencies if like a scientist like studying frequencies, like they show lines or something or waves
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
They just
Waveform,
showed
yeah.
me, they showed me the idea of the angelics that you're gonna really like connect with aren't a being in the sense of a physical or even energetic. They're sounds of creation on the vibration and frequency of what we call angelics. It's phenomenal. It's very expanded. And that sound reverberates within all creation constantly. It's almost like there's always like singing of them, but you can only hear them when you begin to tune in.
Ah, yes, in the silence, I understand.
Yeah, that's all I remember now through our dialogue.
That blew me away, even maybe even more. I don't know, than the last time. I mean, both times were awesome, but I mean, because I put out what I thought anyway were some pretty tough questions. Not that I thought that we're going to trip you up or anything, but at one point it said that basically they were saying like, well, you don't know, you're not aware of what we're asking about, but yet they still sort of answered the question, and I thought that was rather interesting as well.
Okay. Well, I'll have to like re-listen to it because I don't remember that part. Yeah, I mean, look, like people ask questions, I have no idea what they're going to ask. I don't know how they're going to answer, and like, but I feel sometimes because like they try to use, I have my own set of vocabulary in my head as as like Tony, so they try to use it sometimes, and it's quite difficult like for them because what they're trying to describe is something so great that words can't even describe what it is. So they pick and choose words and like sometimes they give examples that make sense a little bit, but I'm feeling something different. Like I'm feeling knowingness of experiences that I can only understand through vibration and the state I'm in. Like, so I'll be curious to hear this back when it's ready, just to see what your question was and how they answered it.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
well, like always, I'll send you the
Sure.
the copy before, just and then I'll timestamp it for you so you can kind of get into that spot. But
Amazing.
so Tony, can you remind everybody out there too, like where can they reach out to you if they want to, like
Find
talk
me.
to you?
Sure, you find. So, where do you find them? Just you're already connected to the ether. Just give me a call. So my website, which is my first name last name.com, ToniGhazi.com. All my social media is there on the top, so like make sure to follow and stuff. I also have praying mantis skulls. I don't know if we talked about it the last time. I have a new design now, which is amazing. A amazing carver. So like the eyes are obsidian
Wow.
eyes. Yeah, they're stunning. And this
Dang.
is chevron amethyst. And I just had like a new shipment delivered. These are a bit more expensive than, so like these are medium size. Like I'm not gonna make like the large size anymore because it's hard for people like to travel with. Like the medium size, are great. You can keep it at home and do like grid work all over the world, or like just carry it with you. As you know, like stones also are like intelligence. They can be your assistants. You can ask for healing. It's all permission slips for whatever you want. Manifest this and that. I do one-on-one channelings. I do group channelings. I travel to other people. I was invited by a family like to their villa in actually Mallorca, Spain. So I'm going to France and like Mallorca, Spain in a few months, like to channel for them. Of course, like events everywhere. On my website, it's the Woo Woo website. I'm creating another section like to my website that's going to be like corporate coaching. So there's like the like new design that I'm working on. When you go to my website, you have two tabs, one for the woo woo, one for the like corporate coaching, and it will send you to different, outlets. What else? I'm beginning to do retreats with a friend of mine. So I'll keep you guys updated. I had a marketing team for like 2 years that like did my marketing, which is great. But when you give your voice to someone else, an essence of who I am gets lost. So now I've gotten the desire to do my own social media. So you're going to see me like talk a lot more, being free with my phone and being real and like giving all kinds of advice and like teaching moments for others as what I'm going through. And I'm being super authentic and like naked in the way that I am. What else? I'm going to be in a documentary 2026 on Amazon. I'll keep everyone updated. I have a book that I wrote, channeled messages from like the praying mantises. It's out. It's done, but I haven't like, marketed it yet. I'm part of 3 anthology books like meaning I have a chapter as part of 20 or 30 chapters like with other like people. I'll begin to also like put on social media so people can buy and read or whatever. I still sell real estate, so I don't know. And who knows what's gonna happen next? I don't know. It's every day is unfolding, every day is changing. I'm a new person literally every week. Every time I go to a retreat or I do an event, I get activated. I get keys from people. I learn things. I expand to the next level. So I'm a walking, living change. I'm the infinite walking right in front of you, changing as I, and yeah, I think that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. So generous. And that change you're making is affecting me. I feel the change. I feel inspired by your energy, your beautiful generosity. Much love to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Stuart. And to all of you, remember, oftentimes we want to change the world. We want to create a better world. Believe me when I say, and many people have said it, but I'm going to say it, beyond the intellect, it begins with you. Because you are the world, and I'm not just saying it. It begins with your essence and frequency. Go in and find out who you are. You may think you are who you are, but believe me when I say this, you are not who you think you are. Because it takes digging and shoveling and digging to go into the core of who you are, to really know that you are the creator, you are God, you are everything. And from that frequency, you change the world that you're on. From that frequency, you inspire others. You give codes to others of self-knowingness. And that's what it's all about. Because you are your own sovereign being and they are their own sovereign being. You can never change another being. You can only change your frequency to give them the opportunity to shift to your frequency. But unless you know yourself, everybody else is going to also be lost because you've given them the lost vibration and frequency of self. Wow. That's why self-work is important. And when I say other beings, I'm not just speaking of humans. Water energies, rock energies, animals, insects, the wind, the moon, the sun. The fabric of creation gets awakened by you awakening to your own self. Most important thing to do is loving thyself fully, which I'm learning every day. And there's all kinds of shades. And, there is no, we're all going to reach a state where, I'm unconditionally loving in this state. That continues on forever. But it's more than the day before. It's more than the minute before. And that's changing the world. That's the ripple effect that's happening.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tony, man, I'm so glad to have met you and to keep in contact with you and visiting with us again.
Always.
I mean, you're awesome. You're awesome.
Always. Thank you. And one day I'm supposed to create like a podcast. Like one day I'll have you guys on my show. And that happens with all the busyness I have. I don't know when that will unfold. But
that'd be wonderful.
Yeah. So
well, let me know. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of time, but if you're looking for a producer, maybe I can help you out with that or something. I don't know.
Well, wow. I know nothing about the podcasting world, literally like nothing. All I know is the room next door. It's actually like a bedroom, but my husband has a lot of stuff. So we have like 4 storage units. It's crazy here and in the Virgin Islands. And anyways, I'm supposed to clear that out to make it my like podcast room, like paint it and make it look cute and everything. Nice. But we'll see when that happens. There's a lot going on right now.
All right.
Wow.
Sounds good.
Mike is amazing with what he does on this show. Just fantastic.
Amazing. Thank you, Mike. And yes, I'll ask you when that's ready. Because I could do it here, but I want a couch and I want like a very home vibey like setting, and I have an image.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again so much for
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you for everyone else that witnessed this.
Much love.
Yeah. I love you guys.
Love you too, and we'll keep in touch.
Talk to you later.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, Stuart, pardon my language, but Jesus Christ on his holy cross, that was freaking amazing.
I know. I'm going to be absorbing that for weeks. I know I say that, but each time we have something like that, it's like it's even more powerful. Like I really found that extremely powerful and informative. Like I'm lost for words here, Mike, which is very rare for me.
Likewise. I mean, yeah, a lot of. I don't really. Yeah, I don't have much to say other than that was great, and why don't we just let that be what it is?
Okay, yeah. Okay, that feels
Because
right.
I think anything that we try to do right now isn't like, I'm still absorbing everything that we just heard, and we're not gonna, we won't do it justice. Let's just say thank you all for joining us, and hit that like button, please. Share us. Thank you for your subscriptions. Comment. Let us know what you think. We love the interaction, and we'll be back real soon.
Thank you. Much love to all of you.